Chapter 511. Why do you want to know the secret of the golden light? The rabbit elder asked calmly. I want to obtain the golden light not for myself, but because a demonic aura is spreading in your arcane realm. This demonic aura will turn you into mindless puppets. Only the golden light can save you. Yunjoga told the rabbit elder about the demonic aura and the gaga grass on the orc cubs, as well as the naga auntie. Finally, he said, if you don't believe me, you can ask Gur, as well as the eagle men and the nagas. Elder, Miss Yun is telling the truth. Miss Yun cured all the kids of the eagle man tribe. I saw it with my own eyes, was said hurriedly. You're really a kind person, the rabbit elder praised casually. The rabbit elder praised casually before sighing and saying, but we don't know where the golden light on our bodies comes from. In fact, I only just found out about this from you. Our tribe has been living in the depths of the grassland. Our ancestors told us to keep this a secret. We can't let outsiders know that we can completely transform into beasts. Then have you compared the difference between you and other rabbit men? Yunjoga asked again. Yes, but we're actually no different from ordinary rabbit men. The food we eat and the environment we live in are the same. We also marry rabbit men from other tribes. The offspring we give birth to can also transform, but they'll be much weaker. We can only transform when it's a matter of life and death, the rabbit elder said. At this point, the rabbit elder's eyes immediately became a little wet. He said, this time, our tribe encountered a great disaster. All the strong tribesmen were captured. Only the old, the weak, the women, and the children escaped through the tunnel. Who captured you? Yunjoga asked solemnly. It was the jackal orcs. At first, they chased ordinary jackals to test us. After we killed those jackals, they didn't do anything. I didn't expect them to be so shameless as to poison the plants we eat. The poison is very strange. The poison tribesmen can't transform, so they can only desperately cover our escape. Resentment flashed in the rabbit elder's red eyes. Because of their ability to transform, they didn't suffer too much damage during the Black Rain disaster. This time, however, most of them were captured because of the jackal orcs. You beastmen shouldn't have the ability to poison plants. Yunjoga was sure that was Nangong Yu's doing. You mean the oracle is the one who commanded it? The military counselor immediately understood. That's very likely. How much do you know about the Knoll tribe? Do you know if they have joined the oracle's camp? Where is their current base? Yunjoga asked. I've never heard of the Knoll tribe joining the oracle's camp. They have always been migrating with their prey. They don't have a fixed settlement. The military counselor shook his head. We, the rabbit folk, have always lived in the depths of the grasslands and have never dealt with the gnolls before. However, the panther race brat had previously brought the oracle's summons, asking us to join the oracle's tribe. Then, he would give us weapons to protect ourselves, but we rejected him. The rabbit elder was a little regretful. If they had known that the tribe would encounter such a calamity, they would have agreed to join the oracle's camp. At the very least, they would have gotten their hands on the weapons first. Elder, don't worry. If the oracle ordered the gnolls to do this, then your people should be fine. Nangon, you only wanted the golden light, not the rabbit meat. Lady Yun, please save our clansmen. Gwr said excitedly at the side. Don't worry, I will definitely save them. How many of your people are left? Call them over. Yes, Yunjoga said. My people are very safe now. There's no need to trouble Miss Yun, the rabbit elder said gently. It was obvious that he still did not trust Yunjoga. Elder, I'm willing to save you because I treat you as my people. If you don't trust me, there's no need for me to risk my life for you. Yunjoga really did not have the time to appease the timid and paranoid rabbit folk. The rabbit elder was still a little hesitant. Although Yunjoga seemed like a good person, he did not dare to take the risk if he was not of the same race. Yunjoga did not speak. He directly used his divine power and tapped the stone wall. The stone wall silently disappeared, revealing a group of furry rabbits behind it. The rabbits were jumping around in panic, as if they were scared out of their wits. Everyone, don't panic. Miss Yun means us no harm, Gwa shouted desperately, but it was to no avail. The rabbit elder did not move at the side. He had no intention of maintaining order. His red eyes did not hide his dissatisfaction towards Yun Jioga. Miss Yun, military counselor, stood beside Yun Jioga coldly. He was only waiting for her order to capture these ungrateful rabbits. Don't be anxious. Let them jump. Yun Jioga was not anxious this time. He turned around and sat down. He called Gua and said, "You must be hungry after a long day. Eat something first." With that said, he filled a small stone bowl with meat porridge and handed it to Gua. Gua was originally not in the mood to eat, but she could not stand the aroma. She immediately transformed into her human form and drank in big mouthfuls. She felt as if her internal organs and body were soaking in the hot spring. Perhaps her expression was too blissful. The few little rabbits watching from afar could not help but drool. "Xiao Xia, Xiao Ming, come here quickly. It's too delicious." Guo went over and carried the two smallest rabbits over. She let them drink in her bowl. The two palm-sized white rabbits were a little timid at first. However, once they ate the meat porridge, they immediately buried their heads in and ate. The rabbit form had a small appetite. The two little rabbits turned into human forms with a bang. Xiao Xia was a little lowly, around 5 years old. She had long hair, a round apple face, and big watery eyes. She was very cute. Xiao Ming looked exactly the same as Xiao Xia. However, his short hair showed that he was a boy. The two of them should be twins. Yun Jioga took the opportunity to open his spirit eye to check the two rabbits. He found that they were very healthy. There were no traces of demonic energy or death energy on their bodies. That mysterious golden light was indeed the root of dispelling demonic energy. The beastmen were saved. Under the lure of Gua and the two little rabbits, the other rabbits also came over to drink the meat porridge. However, only the children transformed into human forms. The other adults remained in rabbit form and kept a distance from Yun Jioga and the others. The rabbit elder still stood proudly on the spot without moving. "Elder, please believe that I have no ill intentions. If I really wanted to do anything to you, I would not need to spend so much effort to help you." Yun Jioga handed a bowl of meat porridge to the rabbit elder. Chapter 5:12. Miss Yun, I know you're a good person, but we really don't dare to take the risk anymore. The rabbit elder softened her attitude, but she did not take the meat porridge. "I don't want you to take the risk. Actually, I'm planning to build a city and plan a large amount of food to help you orcs survive the winter. I realize that the rabbit people are very good at farming, so I hope you can go back with me. After I rescue your people, you can reunite." Although Yun Jioga sounded very sincere, the rabbit elder was still a little hesitant. "I hope you won't reject my invitation because winter is coming soon. The rabbit people won't be able to survive the current situation." Yun Jioga looked at the little rabbit people who were resting after eating and drinking. "Thank you for your invitation, but I can't make a decision on this matter. Why don't you ask our chief after you rescue her?" The rabbit elder said slyly. "Sure, I saw some injured rabbits. Go and treat them." Yun Jioga did not take the opportunity to make a good impression on the injured rabbit people. Instead, she handed the great jade grass to the rabbit elder. "Thank you for the herb." The rabbit elder nodded gratefully. Regardless of whether Yun Jioga was a good person or a bad person, at least he was helping them now. "You're welcome." Yun Jioga returned to the campfire, added some water to the stone bowl, and continued to cook more meat porridge so that the rabbit people could eat their fill. The next morning, Yun Jioga did not leave with the rabbit people immediately. Instead, she let them stay in the cave. She even asked Gray and the others to bring a large number of dry branches. Gu and Gui stayed with them. "Hui, you and Ah Fei will look for the place where the gnolls live later. Counselor Ah Ping and I will go back to the tribe to discuss with Elder about rescuing the rabbit people," Yun Jioga said in front of all the rabbit people. "Yes." The eaglemen answered at the same time and left the cliff with Yun Jioga. "Miss Yun, why don't you bring the rabbit people back?" Counselor asked in confusion. "Bring them to where? Eagle Cliff?" Yun Jioga glanced at the military counselor and continued. "Those rabbits are so scared now. They definitely won't be willing to go with us. Secondly, if we bring them around, won't our rabbit forms be exposed? Before we find out the secret of the golden light, we must keep the matter of the rabbit tribe a secret. Do you understand? Don't worry, Miss Yun. We know what's important. The military counselor hurriedly promised, and the other eagle men also agreed. This matter concerns the beastmen race. I hope that you will keep your word, Yin Juga said. Then can I tell Elder Bai? Military counselor could not help but ask. I'll talk to him personally. After Yin Juga finished speaking, he turned to look at Ash and Ah Fei. After you find the Knowles encampment, just wait for me at the rabbit tribe's lair. Yin Juga did this because she did not want to tire them out. Also, if they could not find the lair of the Knowles, she and Zishang could figure out themselves. Then let's head over now. Ash and Hoodlum turned and flew toward the rabbit tribe's lair. When Yun Juga returned to Eagle Cliff, she saw a few eagle men diligently sprinkling water on the cliff. There were also many eagle men flying around carrying soil, preparing to plant moss in their lair. Seeing Yin Juga return, all the eagle men stopped what they were doing and automatically saluted her. Yin Juga returned all of them with a friendly smile. After flying to Elder Bai's lair, she saw that he was carefully digging out the moss on the cave wall, preparing to transplant it for his people. Miss Yin, you're back. How's the matter with the rabbit tribe? Elder Bai was very happy to see Yin Juga. It's not going well. There's something I need to tell you. Yin Juga told him about the transformation of Dummy and the rabbit tribe's golden power. Actually, Yin Juga had already told Elder Bai about the golden light before. However, the old man was determined that it was a God-given ability, so he did not take it to heart. Now that he heard that the rabbit tribe, which they looked down on the most, had such an ability, he immediately became excited. Then why didn't you bring that old rabbit back? I'll ask her myself. Elder Bai, in my heart, whether you're herbivorous or carnivorous, strong or weak, you orcs are all the same to me. So I hope you won't look down on them, Yin Juga said seriously. Miss Yin, you misunderstood me. I'm not looking down on them. In fact, I'm old friend with the rabbit elder, so I'm a little more casual with my words, Elder Bai quickly explained. Yes, Miss Yin, you see, Gua has been in Eagle Cliff for so long, and we've never treated her as an outsider. The military counselor quickly explained on behalf of his grandfather. Yes, I know you're all good people. All right, one more thing, don't tell anyone about this. Otherwise, the orcs will be in chaos, Yin Juga warned seriously again. Don't worry, Miss Yin. If they dare to say anything, I'll break their wings. Elder Bai's tone was murderous, so no one doubted his determination. Then, he reported something else to Yin Juga. After he told the Eagle partners that Yin Juga wanted to take over the surrounding tribes, those herbivorous orcs immediately urged their partners to send food back to their parents' home. Those herbivorous orcs immediately urged their Eagle Man partners to send food back to their mother's home. Now, several tribes were crying and begging to submit to her. Count the number of people who want to pledge allegiance to the tribe and see what their specialties are. I'll go check on Yi Zi's situation. Whether it was settling down the other beastmen or saving the rabbit tribe, Zishang had to take action. Perfect, Aze is at Eagle Cliff. I'll let him take you there. Elder Bai immediately yelled, Aze, come here. Elder, I was tired yesterday. Can't you let me rest for a while? Aze ran over with sleepy eyes. He almost went around half the secret realm with Zishang yesterday. He was really exhausted. Stop talking. Take Miss Yin to Master Yi Zi. Elder Bai kicked Zhe. This elder, who only had a year to live, was full of energy. He didn't look sick at all. Ouch! Aze yelled exaggeratedly and came to Yin Juga obediently. Let's go. Yin Juga didn't have any sympathy for him. Aze was just putting on an act. He was more talkative than grass along the way. Yesterday, Master Yi Zi made me fly around randomly in the sky. Then, he found a small mountain and told me to stop there. Look, it's there. Aze pointed at a small mountain not far away. Then his jaw dropped in shock. Chapter 513. A circle of tall and thick gray walls rose abruptly around the mountain, looking indestructible. Outside the wall was a deep ditch. Although water hadn't been released yet, it was still very shocking. God, there was nothing when I left last night. Aze couldn't close his mouth at all. Are you sure you didn't see wrong? The military advisor also found it hard to believe. I don't think I saw wrong. Aze kept rubbing his eyes, suspecting that there was something wrong with his eyes. Stop rubbing. The wall is real. Let's go over and see. Yunjioga wasn't surprised. Shirley could use magic after all. Building a few city walls wasn't a problem for him. Zishang had long noticed them coming over and was standing on the city wall. He had a smile on his handsome face as he stared intently at Yunjioga. The strong wind blew, causing his black hair and the hem of his clothes to dance, but it was unable to shake his figure. Yunjioga landed next to Zishang and was grabbed by his hand. How was it? Did it surprise you? Zishang asked with a smile. It's all right. Yunjioga looked around and saw a high wall separating the mountain and the flat land behind it. There were many caves on the hill, and it looked as if someone had made countless holes in it. What are you doing? Yunjioga couldn't tell what kind of city Zishang wanted to build. This mountain is for the fighting tribes to live in. Behind it is a planting area. We just need to dig the water channel, and we can plant the big eater grass. Zishang began to explain his idea to Yunjioga. Are you planning to turn this mountain into a fortress? Yunjioga didn't think the mountain was a place for people to live in. That's right, this is a fortress. If we launch an attack, the fighting tribes will fight here. The old, weak, women, and children will go to the city wall behind, Zishang said simply. Are you thinking of this battle too intensely? Yunjioga looked at the things that looked like cannons on the mountain and felt his scalp tingle. This was exactly what a war looked like. It's better to be prepared, Zishang answered. He didn't tell Yunjioga about his bad feeling. By the way, where's Shirley? Yunjioga looked around and didn't see the walking corpse sovereign. He's still working in the back. I'll take you to him. Zishang brought Yunjioga to the area at the back. From afar, they saw two figures, one big and one small, building a wall. Streams of energy spread out from their palms and turned into walls. Huh, why did he even release his wife and child? Yunjioga was surprised. Shirley's heart ached for his wife and children. How could he bear to let them work? It's probably because there are more people, Zishang said calmly. Miss Yin, you're finally here. When Shirley saw Yunjioga, it was as though he had seen a relative. He had been mercilessly oppressed by Zishang for the past few days to the point that he was about to cry. Amazing. Bringing you here was indeed the right decision. Yunjioga gave Shirley a thumbs up. Shirley was filled with resentment, but he couldn't say anything. I'll go out with Joga later. I'll leave this place to you. Zishang patted Shirley's shoulder. Where are you going? Shirley was surprised. A date, Zishang said seriously. As long as you have your wife by your side, can I go out with my wife? All right. You guys go. Shirley turned around helplessly and continued to work with a soaring resentment. Yunjioga didn't know if it was an illusion, but she felt that the yin-yang qi in Shirley's body was even stronger. He was working faster. Let's go out and talk. After Zishang brought Yunjioga out of the back area, he said, Shirley has been transferring his natal yin-yang qi to his wife and child all these years. He has accumulated a lot of yin-yang qi. It won't be a problem for him to build a city. No wonder, but it's not good for you to oppress him like this. After all, we're all friends. Yunjioga knew that Shirley had given his natal yin-yang qi to his wife and child in the hopes that they would become zombies one day. I'm naturally giving him benefits when I ask him to work. You don't have to worry about this, Zishang said. What benefits can you give him? Yunjioga looked at Zishang suspiciously. This fellow was poor. Could he be trying to trick Shirley with nothing? Are you looking down on me? Zishang glanced at Yunjioga and said, What I'm giving him is what he wants the most. Can you help his wife and child become zombies? Yunjioga was shocked. He hadn't heard that Zishang had such a skill. No. Then where did you get the confidence that Shirley would be satisfied? I can't, but Fanning can. That fellow owes me a favor. Zishang raised his eyebrows and was full of pride. TSK, you're offering Buddha with borrowed flowers. Yunjioga looked down on him mercilessly. You came to me just to bicker? Zishang ruffled Yunjioga's hair. I'm not here on a date. Yunjioga first mocked Zishang before telling him about the rabbit tribe. Then you're here to ask me to deal with the Lupus tribe? Zishang asked, even though he already knew the answer. Of course. I don't trust anyone but you. Yunjioga flattered Zishang, which was very rare. You're such a sweet talker. Let's go now. Zishang dragged Yunjioga to the small mountain and saw Lu Zhe still flying around with advisor Junzi. Come down, Zishang yelled. The two eagle men quickly flew down. Master Yi, you're too amazing. Aze looked at Zishang with admiration. The eagle cliff they lived in was built after countless generations of effort. Zishang made it like this in one morning. The eagleman's ancestors wanted to jump out and worship him if they knew. Stop sucking up. Take us to the rabbit tribe's nest, Zishang said. Yes. Aze and advisor Jun. They brought Yunjioga to the rabbit's nest. There was nothing unusual about the small hill that was covered in weeds. After Zishang landed, he and Yunjioga searched the area carefully again. Finally, they found a mark left by Ash in the corner. They found clues about the Lupus tribe. It's in the east. Advisor Jun, then let's go find them now. Aze rubbed his palms together. He wanted nothing more than to kill all the Lupus tribe. Just as Zishang was about to nod in agreement, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky, flying crookedly. Yes, Ash. Oh my God. Fei is injured. Advisor Jun. They immediately flapped their wings and flew toward Ash. Miss Yun, hurry up and take a look at Fei. Aze shouted anxiously while carrying Fei. Half of Fei's wings were covered in blood. His face was sallow. He had already fainted. Chapter 514. Put him on the ground. Yunjioga quickly told Aze to lay Fei down. Then he took out the lightning fire needle to stop the bleeding and examined him carefully. What's wrong? Zishang asked. We found the base of the knolls. We wanted to sneak in to check out the situation, but we didn't expect them to have a Naga's repeating crossbow. When we ran out, Hoodlum was injured by them. Ash blamed himself. If he had been more alert, Hoodlum would not have been injured. It's fine. There's no poison in the arrow. Just go back and rest. Yunjioga was relieved after examining Fei. Aze, take Fei back. Aze and strategist, take us to the Knowles camp, Zishang said. Aze didn't want to do this, but he didn't dare disobey Zishang's orders. He could only carry Fei away. Aze, how are you? Do you want to rest before going? Yunjioga saw that Aze didn't look too well. I'm not tired, but the Knolls just discovered us. If we go now, they'll be on their guard. Aze frowned. Don't worry about that. Send us somewhere nearby, and we'll find a way in, Zishang said. Okay, we'll send you there. Aze and strategist took Yunjioga and Zishang east. The ground was scorched black along the way. The stench of death was very strong. It was a barren land. There were no orcs living here anymore. Why were the Knoll still living here? Weren't they afraid of the stench of death? Even if they weren't, where would they find food? Yunjioga thought it was strange, but he couldn't ask Zishang while flying. He could only ask when he landed. We're ready. Fly low so they don't find us, Zhe said, lowering his body. Zishang let go and landed on the ground. He shouted to Yunjioga, jump. Yunjioga jumped into his arms. Another mile, and we'll reach the Knolls camp, Zhe said after landing. We can go there ourselves. You guys go back to Eagle Cliff. Zishang waved his hand. No, it's too dangerous. Elder Bai told us to stay by your side at all times. Strategist shook his head. This is an order. Zishang did not explain much and sent the military advisor back with one sentence. The military counselor was in a dilemma. He did not dare to disobey Zishang's orders, but he was also afraid that he would be scolded by the elders when he returned. Don't worry. With Yi here, I'll be fine. Right now, I have something more important that I need you to do. Yunjioga was much gentler than Zishang. What mission? The military counselor asked hurriedly. Leaving with a mission and leaving dejectedly were two completely different concepts. Go and find a rabbit tribe and tell them about us building the city. If everything goes well, the rabbit tribe will be able to reunite in the new city tonight. Yunjioga said earnestly to the military counselor, These rabbit people are very important. You must love them as much as you love us. Don't worry, Miss Yun. We understand. The military counselor nodded. When he left this morning, he also felt that it was dangerous to leave Agu alone to protect the rabbit tribe. It was a good time for him to go and take a look at the situation. Ahui's face was cold, and he did not interrupt from the beginning to the end. His attitude was that he would do whatever Yun Jioga said. Let's go. The military counselor and Ahui bade farewell, and the two eagle men turned and left. Since the rabbit tribe is so important, why didn't you bring them back? Zishang asked curiously. I didn't bring them back because I wanted to keep them as bait, Yun Jioga said mysteriously. You suspect that there are spies around us? Zishang raised his eyebrows. They might not be spies. They could be controlled beastmen. Yun Jioga could not open his spiritual eye to check all the beastmen, so he could only use this stupid method. It would be great if there were none, but if there were, then he could catch them all in one go. Yun Jioga and Zishang ran as they talked. Soon, they arrived at a large patch of dark red grass. The grass was half a person's height, and the redness was unbearable. There was also a pungent smell coming from it. The Knoll tribe was in the center of the grass. These Knolls did not seem to know how to live. They had built a few straw sheds at the side, and it was obvious that they were holding the rabbit tribe captive. There was not a single guard in the surroundings. It was no wonder that Ahui and Ah Fei could not help but go down to investigate. There are many Knolls around, waiting for us to walk right into their trap. Zishang's eyesight was much better than the eagleman's. He could see many figures in the grass with a sweep of his eyes. Attack, Yun Jioga asked in a low voice. I'll lure them away. You go and save the rabbits. Zishang stared at the Knolls in the grass. Okay. Yun Jioga lowered her body even more. Zishang pounced forward like the wind and kicked the Knoll closest to him away. The Knoll was like a cannonball that had gone out of control. It flew in circles and crushed countless weeds. Ow, ow, ow. The Knolls all exploded. They raised their bows and charged at Zishang. Zishang moved like a bolt of lightning, sending the Knolls closest to him flying. Then, he stealthily led the Knolls to the side. Yun Jioga took the opportunity to run toward the straw sheds. She did not open the door and rush in. Instead, she poked a hole in the straw sheds and peeked inside. She saw a huge metal cage inside. The unconscious rabbit men were stuffed tightly inside the cage. Some of the rabbit men were even squeezed so tightly that their hands and feet were exposed outside the cage. Fortunately, they were placed vertically. If they were casually stacked, many of the rabbit men would have suffocated to death. Yun Jioga looked around. She did not find any danger in the straw sheds, so she quietly opened the door and slipped out. She was about to open the cage to release the rabbit men when she felt a dangerous aura behind her. She instinctively leaned forward. A crossbow arrow flew past her scalp, creating a huge hole in the straw sheds. Yun Jioga turned around and saw a tall Knoll standing in front of her with a crossbow. This Knoll had yellowish-brown hair, slender eyes, a black nose, and his muscles were as strong as stone. At this moment, its eyes were gray, and its movements were slow. It was obvious that it was being controlled. Yun Jioga opened her spiritual eye and saw that the Knoll's head and neck had been taken over by the gray light. It was even worse than Aunt Gaga of the Naga tribe. What did Nangong you do to this Knoll? Why was it so serious? Questions surfaced in Yun Jioga's mind. Unfortunately, she did not have time to think. The Knoll had already thrown away the crossbow and pounced toward her. It was as fast as a spring, and its sharp claws appeared in front of her in an instant. Chapter 5:15. Seeing that the Knoll leader's claws were unavoidable, Yun Jioga could only use his divine power to tie him up with his moon spirit threads. Unexpectedly, the Knoll leader struggled wildly and knocked the entire straw shed away. Weeds flew everywhere in the collapsed straw shed, and most of them fell onto the iron cage. The Knolls who were fighting Zishang heard the commotion and all turned to run toward the straw shed. Rows of crossbow bolts flew toward her, and many of them stabbed into the iron cage. Many rabbit men were injured in an instant. The injured rabbit men immediately woke up and roared in a frenzy, "Let us out!" The entire iron cage kept shaking, and more rabbit men were injured. "Calm down!" Yun Joga shouted at the rabbit men as he tried to control the Knoll leader. If the rabbit men were released in this crazy state, they would only die faster. "Get out of the way!" Zishan's black snake tail knocked out all the Knolls. Then he twisted his body and slithered to Yun Joga's side, breaking the tall Knoll's limbs. The tall Knoll fell to the ground, but even though his limbs were broken, he still crawled toward Yun Joga without fear of death. A cold light flashed in Zishang's eyes. He was about to twist his head off, but Yun Joga stopped him. He's completely controlled by the demonic chi. He can't do anything. Killing him is useless. Yun Joga took out a thunderfire needle and stabbed it at the Knoll's temple. Only then did he stop struggling. Zishang used the straw rope to tie up all the Knolls. Yun Joga checked them one by one and found that their heads had all turned gray, and the gray was spreading downward. Can these beast men be saved? Zishang could also see that these Knolls were more troublesome than before. It's difficult. Their heads are completely occupied by the demonic chi. Yun Joga shook his head. After the sea of consciousness was completely eroded, even if the demonic chi was expelled, only an empty shell would be left. These are the Knoll's crossbow bolts. See if there's anything wrong with them. Zishang handed the crossbow bolts to Yun Joga. Yun Joga looked carefully. The structure of the crossbow bolts was very similar to the Nagas, except for the arrows. The arrowheads of the Naga tribe were coated with poison, while the arrowheads of the Knoll tribe were gray and ordinary. Just as Yun Joga was about to study the arrowhead, he heard the hysterical shouts of the rabbit people behind him. "Let me out! Let me out!" Yun Joga turned around helplessly and said to the rabbit men who had bent the iron cages, "I can let you out, but you have to calm down first." "Who are you?" A voice that had experienced the vicissitudes of life, yet did not lose its calm, was heard. Yun Joga looked over and saw a Lolita-like little rabbit in the middle of the iron cage. Her red eyes were filled with vicissitudes of life, and she was staring at her. Yun Joga inexplicably felt that this rabbit person was extraordinary, so he said to her, "My name is Yun Joga. Your clansmen asked me to save you. I am the leader of the rabbit race. I promise that they won't do anything rash. Please let us out." The leader of the lowly race said in a low voice. She was strangely convincing. "Are you the clan leader?" Yun Joga remembered that had been calling the clan leader Grandma before. "You can't tell, right?" The leader of the lowly race laughed, but did not explain anything. It seemed like this was a special disguise technique of the rabbit race. "Indeed, I can't tell. I will let you out now. I hope you won't run around." Yun Joga opened the iron cage. The rabbit people did not run around crazily. The conscious rabbit people who walked out pulled out the arrows from their bodies and threw them on the ground. Then, they began to take care of their unconscious clansmen. Yun Joga wanted to help the rabbit people examine them. However, the rabbit people looked at her with wary eyes. Clearly, they had not let down their guard. "I'm a spirit doctor. Only I can cure your poison," Yun Joga said to the leader of the rabbit people. "Then please let me take a look." The leader of the rabbit people trusted Yun Joga. Clan leader. The other rabbit people were unwilling. The leader of the rabbit people waved her hand and took the initiative to walk towards Brother Yunjio. Yun Joga reached out to take the pulse of the leader and found that their meridians had been sealed by a special poison. However, this poison was very light. It could be dispelled without using divine power. "Clan leader, I will be inserting needles into your body to force the poison out. I hope you won't be nervous." Yun Joga took out the lightning fire and said to the leader of the rabbit people, "No, who knows if your needles are poisonous?" Before the leader of the rabbit people could say anything, a male rabbit people suddenly jumped out to stop her. This male rabbit people was very tall and handsome. Other than his white hair and red eyes, he was no different from a human. "Demeng, don't be rude. Step down." Although the leader of the rabbit people looked like a lowly, she was very dignified. She stopped Demeng's rude actions with a glance. Unwillingly, Demeng retreated. "Miss Yun, can the poison be cured immediately after the acupuncture?" The leader of the rabbit people asked cautiously. If it goes smoothly, it will be cured immediately. Yin-Joga nodded. This poison was not difficult to cure. Then I will leave it to you. Do you need me to lie down? The leader of the rabbit people asked cooperatively. There's no need. Just sit down. Yin-Joga walked behind the leader of the rabbit people and used his hand to press on a few of her acupuncture points. He said carefully, this poison has blocked the acupuncture points of 3 of your meridians. That's why you can't use your power to transform. Later, I will use needles to force the poisonous blood out. It might be a little painful, but bear with it. Seeing the leader of the rabbit people nod, Yin-Joga picked up the lightning fire needle and inserted it into the acupuncture points. Droplets of black, poisonous blood quickly emerged from the wound. As the process of detoxification progressed, the leader of the rabbit people slowly aged. Her hair turned white and wrinkles slowly grew on her face. When the other rabbit people saw the transformation of the leader, they did not stop her. It seemed like this was the true face of the leader of the rabbit people. It's done. Yin-Joga put away the needles. The leader of the rabbit people could clearly feel the return of her power. She asked Yin-Joga earnestly, Miss Yin, this method is very useful. Can you teach us? We can use things to exchange for it. Although this method is effective, I do not recommend that you use it yourself. If you don't control your strength well, it can easily cause huge damage. If it's light, your meridians will be damaged. If it's serious, you will be paralyzed and have a stroke, Yin-Joga said solemnly. I just hope that I can save the lives of my clansmen at the critical moment. If it wasn't for Yin-Joga, they would have been doomed. The leader of the rabbit people didn't wish for the fate of her clansmen to be in the hands of others. Later, I will help your clansmen insert the needles one by one. How much you can learn will depend on your own abilities. Yin-Joga didn't plan on bartering for it to prevent future trouble. Thank you. The leader of the rabbit people immediately arranged for her clansmen to sit in rows. Yin-Joga moved the needles rapidly and began helping the rabbit people detoxify. Chapter 516. The rabbit people watched Yin-Joga as she inserted the needles and discussed in low voices. Do you understand? I think I did, but she was too fast. Don't we still have needles on us? Let's go back and apply some rouge flower before we study it. She had some smarts. Yin-Joga smiled slightly. She didn't hate smart people. Miss Yin, these gnolls aren't good people. I suggest you don't keep them. The rabbit leader saw the gnolls tied up like candied hawthorns. Her usually calm eyes couldn't help but show hatred. These gnolls violated the ancestral decree not to kill each other and attacked us rabbit people. They deserve to die. Demeng roared angrily. The other rabbit people also started a riot. Everyone calmed down. Yin-Joga stopped the rabbit people and said, they're just controlled by the demonic chi. They might not really want to attack you. Controlled by the demonic chi? What do you mean? The rabbit leader asked with a frown. Yin-Joga remembered that the leader didn't know about the demonic chi, so she explained it briefly. Are the people who brought in the demonic chi related to the Black Rain disaster? The rabbit leader asked in a low voice. I'm not sure. Yin-Joga shook her head and said, we'll talk about this later. I'll take you to Gua and the others first, but I can only take you with me when you turn into rabbits. The space in the spirit beast bag was limited. She couldn't carry such a large group of humanoid rabbits. Sure, the rabbit leader now trusted Yin-Joga a little. She didn't hesitate to let her people turn into rabbits. The bag is too stuffy. I'll put you in this spirit beast bag. There's spirit chi inside that can help you recover faster. Yin-Joga used Dummy to show them her spirit beast bag. The rabbit people were amazed. After trying it, they were all very satisfied with the spirit beast bag. Yin-Joga finally dealt with a group of rabbits. She was about to argue with Zishang when she saw him standing at a small dirt mound in the distance. Look what I found. Yin-Joga walked over to take a look and found that there was a big hole inside. There were thousands of black stones inside. What is this? Yin-Joga picked it up and weighed it. It was very heavy. It wasn't an ordinary stone. It looked like iron ore. This is a common iron ore agate. Once it's refined, it can be used as a weapon. Zishang had been wondering where he could get some ores to refine into a weapon. Now, the problem was solved. No wonder the gnolls would stay in this godforsaken place. They're here for these ores. Needless to say, Nangon, you must have asked them to collect them. This trip was not in vain. Hurry up and put them away, Zishang said with satisfaction. Yun Jioga bluntly put away all the vanadium ores. Let's go to the cliff. Yun Jioga stored the gnolls that had been controlled by the demonic chi at the bottom of the spirit beast pouch, then started running with Zishang. Although she could not use her spiritual power, the spell of 10,000 beasts had laid a solid foundation for her body, and her running speed was not inferior to that of a wild horse. After running for about an hour, Yun Jioga and the others arrived at the cliff. They saw that the grass curtain hanging over the cave had disappeared, and the things inside were in a mess. It was obvious that someone had ransacked it. Yun Jioga's heart tightened, and he hurriedly flicked his moon spirit thread into the cave. Zishang tapped lightly on the cliff wall a few times before floating in with Yun Jioga. There were many bloodstains in the cave, mixed with gray feathers and white rabbit fur. Looks like the spy you mentioned has appeared. Zishang looked around the cave, then picked up the bloodstain in the corner and rubbed it. Even if there's a spy, aren't there still the military counselor and the others? How did they get killed so quickly? Yun Jioga originally thought that with the eaglemen and rabbitmen around, the spy would not be able to get away with it. You'll have to ask them. Zishang looked at the bottom of the cliff. They're down there. Yun Jioga followed Zishang's gaze and looked at the pitch-black bottom of the cliff. The bloodstains are going downwards, so they should be down there. Hold on tight. Zishang wrapped his arms around Yun Jioga's slender waist and jumped down the cliff. The wind whistled past her ears. Just as she was about to fall, she flicked her moon spirit thread upwards to stabilize herself, then slowly descended. A thick smell of blood wafted from the bottom of the cliff. Two figures were lying in a pile of rubble. Yun Jioga went over to take a look and saw that the one in front was Egu. He was lying face down on the ground, and there were bloody holes on his back, which dyed both sides of his wings red. Behind Egu was the military counselor. He was lying on his back and looked like he still had some consciousness. When he saw Yun Jioga, his mouth moved. He wanted to shout for help, but he could not make a sound. Don't speak. Yun Jioga hurriedly used acupuncture to stop their bleeding. Then she fed a few of the blood-staunching spirit pills and essence-nurturing pills that she had brought. The effects of the spirit pills were very obvious. The bloody holes on their bodies had stopped. Miss Yun, quickly go and save Gu'er and the others, the military counselor said in a hoarse voice as he struggled to sit up. Who attacked you? Yun Jioga asked. Yes, Ash. The military counselor's face revealed an extremely pained expression. He never expected that it would be his own people who would stab him in the back. Oh, wait, how could it be him? Yun Jioga was also greatly shocked. I don't know why he did that either. The military counselor recounted what had happened with great difficulty. When Ahui came over, there was nothing out of the ordinary. He even took the initiative to help the rabbit men fetch water and told them about the construction of the city. Just as they were talking enthusiastically, Ahui suddenly took out a sharp wooden spike and stabbed them in the back. Then he used the lives of the pregnant Gu'er and the little rabbit to threaten the rabbit men to leave with him. I'll send you back first before chasing after them. Yun Jioga wanted to send the military counselor to the top of the cliff. No, quickly chase after them. We definitely cannot let Ahui send the rabbit men to the oracle. Otherwise, the Eaglemen race would not be able to atone for their sins, even if they died 10,000 times. All right, then I'll go chase after them first. I'll come back to pick you up later. Seeing that their injuries were still considered stable, Yun Jioga did not say anything else. He threw out his moon spirit threads and headed to the top of the cliff. Treasure-seeking scorpion, do you still remember the scent of the rabbit man that was with you previously? Can you help me find it? Yun Jioga released the treasure-seeking scorpion. That rabbit was captured by someone. Who is so evil as to actually attack a pregnant female? The treasure-seeking scorpion shouted angrily. If I catch him, I'll definitely kill him. With that said, It jumped onto the ground and spun around a few times. Then, it pointed to the west and said, "There, chase after him." Yunjoga threw the treasure-seeking scorpion onto his shoulder and quickly headed west with Zishang. After running for 2 hours, they finally saw a figure flying in the distant sky. It was Ahui. Should we directly shoot him down or follow him to see where he's going? Zishang asked Yunjoga. According to his intentions, he wanted to cast a long line to catch a big fish, but Yunjoga might not be willing to let the rabbit men take the risk. Chapter 517. Let's go take a look first. Yunjoga thought about it and decided to follow. It would be best if he could find Nangong Yu's address. Yunjoga, Zishang, and the rest followed behind Hui and saw him flying towards the death swamp. The deathly aura emitted by the death swamp had a strong corrosive effect on beastmen. Even flying in the sky would be shrouded by it. After Hui entered the death swamp, he slowed down and the feathers on his wings started to dim. However, he still continued to fly forward. Yunjoga released his god power to create a protective barrier and brought Zishang into the death swamp. After following Hui for about 1 kilometer, he passed through the miasma and landed on a flat ground. When Yunjoga got closer, he realized that behind the miasma was a gray fort. The fort occupied an area of 5 hectares and was 3 stories tall. It had no windows and only a square door. Currently, there were 2 lizard men guarding it. A few gray-skinned lizard men walked out stiffly and took Hui in. Could this be Nangong Yu's base? She actually dared to stay here? Yunjoga was very surprised. A cultivator without the protection of spiritual energy was no different from an ordinary person. Wasn't Nangong Yu afraid of being contaminated by living here? Let's go take a look. Zishang pulled Yunjoga's hand and silently approached the fort. There were beastmen guarding the fort. All of them had gray-skinned, glazed eyes and looked like stone statues. Yunjoga opened his spiritual to take a look and realized that these beastmen were filled with demonic aura. It was even worse than the previous lupus. The previous lupus could only be said to be controlled. These beastmen had completely turned into puppets. It was no wonder that they were not afraid of the deathly aura and the miasma. Zishang picked up a stone and threw it at the heads of the 2 lizard men guarding the gate. When they raised their heads to look around, he threw another stone into the swamp at the side. The 2 lizard men walked over stiffly to take a look. Yunjoga and Zishang took the opportunity to sneak in. The entrance was completely dark without any light. A slightly familiar voice came from not far away. Why are there only so few rabbit men? Yunjoga stretched his head out to take a closer look. The ones who spoke were the leopard youth and a lizard man who intercepted them when they entered the secret realm. In this lifeless place filled with puppet beastmen, the 2 of them were strangely awake. Yunjoga opened his spirit eye and discovered that the 2 beastmen were also covered in golden light that was protecting their sea of consciousness. The leopard youth's golden light shone on his chest, while the lizardman's golden light shone on his ears. It was more intense than the rabbitman's, but not as intense as Dummy's. Strange, since these 2 beastmen had golden light protecting their bodies. Why weren't they captured? Could it be that there was something special about them? The rest of the rabbit men must be with the gnolls. Do you even need to ask? The lizard man said, "All right, take these rabbits to the prison and put them there." The leopard youth handed the rabbits back to Ash and pointed the way for him. Carrying a big bag of rabbits, Ahui turned around and walked out. "Rabbits, I can only help you fight for this little bit of time." The leopard youth sighed. "Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and report to the Lord." The lizard man said coldly, "Sai, let's go. Hopefully, we can make out alive this time." The panther race youngster gave a long sigh before patting his chest. The golden light on his chest gradually extinguished and black gas filled his body. His skin turned gray and his eyes became lifeless, turning into a puppet. The lizard man rubbed his ears and put away the golden light. After turning into a puppet with the leopard youth, they slowly walked into the depths of the castle. "I'll go with them to take a look, bring Ash and the rabbits back." Yunjoga gestured to Zishang. Can you do it by yourself? Zishang didn't agree. I'll just go and take a look. I definitely won't act rashly. Yunjoga felt that he was much more cautious than Zishang. All right. Zishang nodded and split up with Yunjoga. Yunjoga followed the leopard youth and the lizard man to a large door deep in the castle. This large door was made of gray stone, and there were all kinds of totems carved on it. There were also two monkey demon corpses guarding the door. Yunjoga's heart tightened when she saw the two monkey demon corpses. In this secret realm, only Cho's son could have monkey demon corpses. These two monkey demon corpses had changed a lot compared to the outside world. They had giant sharp teeth, gray stone-like skin, and their bodies were releasing a thick death aura. Their cultivation bases were in the golden core realm. She didn't know how Cho's son did this. Yunjoga's heart was filled with questions, and she didn't dare act rashly. She saw the two monkey demon corpses look over the leopard youth and the lizard man before letting them in. The gray door was only open enough for them to pass through, but it was a pity that Yunjoga couldn't see anything from her angle. She didn't dare take the risk of drawing away the two monkey demon corpses, so she could only silently wait. It was a good thing that the leopard youth and the lizard man quickly came out and then slowly walked outside. Yunjoga considered it for a bit before giving up on looking for Cho's senator. She turned around and followed the leopard youth and the lizard man. Seeing their sober appearance, they would definitely be able to give her a lot of information. At this time, a sharp alarm sounded in the castle. The leopard youth and the lizardman's gray light suddenly rose as they charged at the source of the alarm. Yunjoga's pupil shrank, and she suddenly shot out a moon spirit thread to tie up the leopard youth and the lizard man. Then she quickly put them into her spirit beast bag. Let's go. Zishang quickly ran over to Yunjoga with a hui on his shoulder. Behind him was a large group of beastmen puppets. Countless crossbow bolts were shot at him, but they were all sent flying by his sleeves. Put them away. Yunjoga threw the spirit beast bag to Zishang and followed him outside. What happened? There was a monkey corpse with a keen sense of smell in the prison, and I was accidentally discovered by it. Zishang felt that he was really unlucky. He had knocked Ahui unconscious and was about to go find Yunjoga, but he never thought that he would be discovered by a monkey corpse with a giant nose. Although he had knocked out the monkey corpse with his tail, it still triggered the alarm. I followed those two beastmen inside and found two golden core realm monkey corpses. Yunjoga described the appearance of the two corpses. It seems like the ones inside are either Cho's son or Nangongyu. Should we go find them? Zishang was a bit moved. Save it, can you beat them? Yunjoga said as he sent a leopard puppet flying. Who says this venerable can't beat them? Zishang was a bit dissatisfied. Yunjoga was looking down on him too much. All right, fighting alone isn't your style. You should go back and gather the Beastman army to crush them. Yunjoga comforted him. Good idea. Zishang threw Yunjoga onto his body, and his lower body turned into a black snake tail, sending countless beastmen flying. Chapter 518. The monster monkey corpses are here. Let's go. Yunjoga turned his head to look behind him and saw two golden core monster monkey corpses charging over with spears. The death aura on the spears was very terrifying. Help me. I'll directly leave the death swamp. Zishang's tail smashed the wall, and he jumped out of the castle, instantly arriving at the edge of the death swamp. Yunjoga covered Zishang in a layer of golden light, isolating the death aura outside. Zishang jumped into the death swamp, and with a twist of his tail, he flew out like an arrow. There were several fast beast puppets that chased after him, but they immediately sank into the swamp. The monster monkey corpses looked at Yunjoga and Zishang flying away, pounding their chests as they let out angry roars. Behind the gray stone door, Cho's son, who was studying the golden beast puppets, looked up when he heard the commotion. He called the monster monkey corpses in, and after communicating with them, he found out that a woman and a snake person had come in to cause destruction. Yunjoga, right? Cho's son suddenly laughed. His left eye was dark and strange. So what if you were the reincarnation of a goddess? No one can stop our otherworldly demon race from starting a great journey. After Yunjioga and Zishang charged out of the death swamp, they wildly ran for another hour. After confirming that the beast puppets would not chase them, they let out a sigh of relief. We have to find a safe place to stay as soon as possible. Yunjioga looked at the darkening sky, and his heart began to sink. The night in the secret realm was very dangerous. The death aura would spread very quickly. Other than the deformed dead beasts, no other animals would dare come out. Even if Yunjioga had divine energy protecting his body, he would not dare try it. Zishang looked at the incomparably empty field. He was afraid that it would be hard to find a safe cave before nightfall, so it would be better to make a hole here. He raised his hand and pressed down on the ground. Gray Chi came out of his palm and drilled into the ground. A round hole immediately appeared in front of Yunjioga. All right, Zishang held Yunjioga and jumped down. He sealed the hole, and there was no trace of them in the field. You used surely quite thoroughly. Yunjioga looked around the empty basement in front of him. Everything was made from energy. Equivalent exchange. Fan Yin's favor is very valuable. If it wasn't for the special circumstances, Zishang wouldn't have wanted to sell it to Shirley. It was too cheap for them to help build the city. How did Fan Yin owe you a favor? In Yunjioga's impression, the handsome monk was always dignified and solemn. He could not even crack a joke. How could he owe Zishang a favor? I told him that you wanted to take him into your harem, which made me feel very embarrassed. He felt that he owed me a favor. Zishang said rather evilly. I never thought of taking him in, okay? Yunjioga glared at him. No matter how bad he was in his previous life, he still had a bottom line. I know, I purposely tricked him. Zishang purposely made Fan Yin owe him a favor so that he could torment him in the future. You were so despicable. Zishang dared to use her. Yulinger was right about him. Thank you for the compliment. Zishang smiled. He was such a despicable person, and he felt very honored. Release Ash. I want to ask him what's going on. Yunjioga decided to interrogate the traitor first. Zishang then released Ahui. Ash's usually cold face was very sluggish. He looked at Yunjioga in a daze. It was obvious that he was being controlled. Yunjioga opened her spirit eye and saw that his mind was filled with a ball of thick gray gas. Why is it like this? Previously, when Yunjioga had examined Ahui, he had not been controlled. Why did he suddenly erupt? Could it be that the demonic chi was so well hidden that even her spirit, I was fooled? Could it be because of this? Zishang gestured for Yunjioga to look at Ash's back. There was a bloody hole there. It was caused by the Knoll's crossbow. Yunjioga suddenly thought of the special gray arrowhead of the Knoll. She took out the arrowhead from her storage bag. Zishang released energy at the arrowhead. The arrowhead immediately turned into black and red demonic energy. With a whoosh, it burrowed into Ash's wound. After Yunjioga used her god power to extinguish the demonic energy, she asked Zishang, where did they get so many demonic stones? Why didn't the Naga race use these arrowheads before? If the Naga race also used these arrowheads, the Eagleman race would have been wiped out. It probably has to do with the user's physique. The Knoll is already a puppet, so it can make use of the demonic stones. However, the demonic stones shouldn't be able to turn the beastmen into puppets. They must have used other methods, such as the Gaga grass, to turn the beastmen into puppets. Only then can they make use of the demonic stones. Zishang gave his conjecture. It's getting more and more troublesome. Yunjioga sighed. She kept Ash in her spiritual beast bag and released the leopard youth and the lizard man. These two were even more wooden than Ash. Their bodies were covered in gray gas, just like the Knoll. If Yunjioga hadn't seen them speak, she would have thought that they had become puppets. She injected her god power into the chests of the two beastmen. The two beastmen's bodies glowed with a golden light, slowly dispersing the demonic energy in their heads. Then they opened their eyes. It's you? The leopard youth instantly recognized Yunjioga. Where is this? The lizard man looked at the earthy yellow basement warily. It's safe here. You've already escaped from the death swamp, Yunjioga said calmly. Zishang hid her breath and hid in the shadows. You rescued us. The leopard youth had a look of disbelief. This woman could actually pass through the Death Swamp and Grey Castle. She was too powerful. That's right. What are your names? Why did you go to Grey Castle? What happened there? What's behind that patterned door? Yunjoga fired off a barrage of questions. The leopard youth glanced at the lizard man. When he saw the lizard man nod, he slowly said, I'm Flowery, and he's Big Ear. We were captured and brought to Grey Castle. Behind the door is a man called Cho Sr. It turned out that Xiaohua and Big Ear were the first batch of beastmen to seek refuge with the Oracle. After receiving the Oracle's order to capture Yunjoga, they had been loitering at the entrance of the secret land. After Yunjoga escaped with Dummy that day, they planned to go back and report to the Oracle. They didn't expect to be recruited by Cho-san to come to the Death Swamp and help him capture beastmen who could transform into beasts. Is it Cho-san you're talking about, a man who looks like a 5-year-old child? Yunjoga asked. No, Cho-san is a tall and handsome man who looks very gloomy and scary. Big Ear shook his head. Did Cho-san lift the curse? Yunjoga thought for a moment, then asked, why did Cho-san capture beastmen who can transform into beasts? Chapter 519. He kept those beastmen in cages behind the door and drank their blood every day. Little Blossom shuddered at the thought. You too can transform too. Why doesn't Cho-san drink your blood? Yunjoga was confused. These two beastmen were definitely high-quality products. How do you know we could transform? You're wrong. We can't. Little Blossom and Big Ear said at the same time. You don't have to lie to me. My eyes can see the golden light on your bodies. Yunjoga nodded at his eyes, then pointed at Little Blossom's chest and Big Ear's ears. Your golden light is here. Little Blossom and Big Ear's faces tensed up. The next moment, they suddenly attacked Yunjoga. But before they could get close to Yunjoga, they were sent flying by a strong force. They slammed into the wall. Behave, or I'll break your necks. Zishang cracked his knuckles as he walked out of the shadows. He stood beside Yunjoga like an unshakable mountain. Little Blossom and Big Ear looked at him with complicated expressions. That attack just now made them know that this man was very strong. There was no way they could win. Don't be too nervous. I mean you no harm. The demonic air is everywhere. Only the golden light can save you beastmen. Do you know where the golden light on your bodies came from? Yunjoga asked directly. We don't know where the golden light on our bodies came from either. Little Blossom and Big Ear shook their heads at the same time. After he and Big Ear were intercepted by Cho-san and brought to the Death Swamp, Cho-san injected magic stones into them and turned them into gray puppets. These gray puppets were very strong and did not fear death, but they could not use magic stone tools. The second day after Little Blossom and Big Ear became puppets, they awoke to the golden light and regained consciousness, so he could not provide any useful clues. If you think of any clues, tell me immediately. Yunjoga did not expect Little Blossom and Big Ear to immediately tell him the secret of the golden light. If they knew where the golden light came from, they wouldn't be so weak. They would at least be at Dummy's level. Yes. Little Blossom and Big Ear quickly nodded. How are your people now? Yunjoga wanted to bring them to the city that Zishang built. There might be other people with golden light. My people are still in their original camp, Little Blossom said. Little Flower could guess what Yunjoga was thinking. He immediately said, I am willing to represent them and be loyal to you. You just need to give them a safe place to stay. The Oracle looked at them like they were ants, but Yunjoga was calm. The divine emissary looked at them as though they were ants, but Yunjoga's gaze was calm. Lady Yun, I am also willing to serve you on behalf of the Lizardmen tribe. The conditions are the same as the Leopardmen tribe, Big Ear said solemnly. I agree, Union said. We can. You. And Little Blossom said you. But we only have 2 hours of conscious time every day. Little Blossom smiled bitterly and pointed at his chest. The golden light there was fading. Me too. So, I have no choice but to ask you to send someone to pick them up. This is a token from the chief. You just have to show it to my people, and they will follow you. Big Ear took off a black leather rope hanging from his chest. There was a series of gray scales hanging from it. Big Ear bit his index finger and smeared the blood on the scales. The gray scales immediately turned blue. Little Blossom took off his bracelet. There was a white tooth on it. He rubbed his blood on the tooth, too. The tooth turned black. "Don't worry. I will send the Eagle Men to pick them up," Yunjoga said, taking their tokens. "Thank you, Yunjoga." Little Blossom and Big Ear thanked him. "Oh, I have one more thing to ask you." Yunjoga told her about the gnolls, then took out the arrow made of magic stones and asked, "Do you know what's going on?" Xiaohua picked up the magic stone arrow and looked at it carefully. He said, "I remember that the oracle appeared in the gnoll tribe. The gnolls worshipped the oracle very much. Then they got sick. The oracle gave them gaga grass to cure them. They volunteered to go to the grasslands to collect iron. I don't know what happened after that. It seemed that the prerequisite to consuming the demonic gaga grass was to worship Nangongyu." Yunjoga nodded to himself. If that was the case, then it made sense. "Apart from Cho-sun, did you see anyone else with the oracle?" Zishang asked. "No. Actually, we have never seen the god messenger's true face. She always wears a big white cloak, and her face is covered with a veil." Little Flower's voice was getting weaker and weaker. His face was gray, and he became a puppet again. Yunjoga put Little Blossom and Big Ear into the spirit beast bag. She asked Zishang, "I wonder how Nangong Li and Bailey Mayan are." She had a bad feeling. No matter what happened to them, they asked for it. They chose to believe Nangongyu and not them. I hope they're still alive. They were friends. Yunjoga didn't want them to become Nangongyu's puppets. The next morning, Yunjoga and Zishang returned to the bottom of the cliff. They found that Counselor and Agu were gone. However, the clues they left behind indicated that they had returned to Eagle Cliff. Back to Eagle Cliff or the city? Zishang asked Yunjoga. "Let's go back to the city." Yunjoga thought about it and decided to go back. That was her territory. That's right. Zishang looked like she was worth teaching. What kind of boss would run around all day? Of course, it was to wait for the minions to come. 2 hours later, Yunjoga and Zishang arrived at the construction site. From afar, the tall walls were very eye-catching. They could see the eagle people moving around the small mountain in the middle. There were also many snake people helping to build houses by the walls. Elder Bai and Meng thought that Zishang would need a long time to build the city. They didn't expect it to be done in just a few days. The two races immediately came over to take the position. "Lady Yin, you're back." Aze saw them from afar and rushed over. "Oh, right. How are Counselor and Agu?" Yunjoga asked. "They're fine. They're recovering at Eagle Cliff." "Did you catch Hui, that traitor?" Aze asked excitedly. "I did. Are Elder Bai and Meng here?" Yunjoga asked. "They're all in the mountains. I'll take you there." Aze said, "No need. Go back and tell Elder Bai and Meng to gather all the orcs. I have something to say to them." Yunjoga decided to gather everyone and tell them about the gnolls. "Okay, I'll go now." Aze flapped his wings and flew back. Chapter 520. Yunjoga was just about to enter the city when Zishang pulled her hand and pointed to a stone tablet not far away. He smiled and said, "Een Shirley is quite considerate." Yunjoga followed his line of sight and saw a huge stone tablet at the city gate with 2 majestic words written on it, Cloud City. "I didn't build this city. It should be called Purple City." Yunjoga felt that she had stolen Zishang's credit. In fact, Zishang had done as much as she did recently, but he always kept a low profile and hid behind her. "This is the city I built for you. It's called Cloud City. It's worthy of its name." Zishang smiled. If it wasn't for Yunjoga's kindness, he wouldn't have cared about the lives of these beast men and wouldn't have helped them like this. Cloud City it is. It was just a title. Yunjoga wouldn't be hypocritical and push it around with Zishang. The two of them walked into the city together and saw Elder by walking over with the little eagle man, Ashue. "Miss Yin, I heard you caught Ash. Is he really a traitor?" Elder White didn't believe that Ash would betray the eagle men. However, if Ash really did something wrong, he hoped to settle it privately. Aqua didn't speak. He looked at Yoga with his light blue eyes. If Ash was really determined to be a traitor, the traitor's child would have a hard time in the future. That's right, Ash didn't betray you. All of this was caused by God's messenger. Later, I will explain this matter clearly in front of everyone. Yoga touched Aqua's head and gave him a cherry pill. Thank you. Aqua's eyes lit up when he saw this beautiful pill. He decided to give it to his father. That's great. All right, the bullheaded and centaur tribes have come to us. They're in the plaza now. Elder White was completely relieved. He knew the Eagle Men wouldn't have cowards. They've all moved here? Yoga didn't expect Elder White to act so quickly. That's right. We brought food and moss to the centaurs and ox-headed tribes, and they moved over without hesitation. Serene surely has already divided the area for them, and they've already started planting herbivorous grass and moss, Elder White said with a face full of confidence. That's right. Actually, the Oxmen and Centaurs didn't fully believe it at first, but after discovering that the land was actually alive, they didn't hesitate to move over. You've done very well. Take me to them. Yoga needed to get to know the first group of herbivorous orcs that sought refuge with him. They're at the plaza. I'll take you there. Elder Bai brought Yoga to the plaza. The square was very simple, and there was only a high platform in the middle. At this time, the high platform was surrounded by beastmen. There were eagle men, nagas, centaurs, and oxmen all gathered together. When he saw Yoga and Zishang, he immediately cheered, Lady Yun, Lord Yizi. The other orcs cheered as well, as if they were welcoming a triumphant hero. Yoga raised his hand to greet them with a reserved smile, then walked in front of the centaurs and ox-headed tribes. The leader of the centaurs was called Mang, and the leader of the ox-headed tribes was called Blackhorn. Both of them were very tall, but they were so thin that bones could be seen everywhere. The tribesmen behind them also looked very weak. It was said that after the two tribes refused to submit to Sir Divine Envoy, they started to get sick and had no strength left in their bodies. Moreover, they couldn't eat ordinary plants and could only eat the most tender and clean grass. But how could there be clean grass in this wasteland? The food that Elder Bai brought solved their predicament, so they made up their minds to come over and seek refuge. At worst, they would just die, but at least they could die with Yoga as ghosts. Don't worry and stay here. I won't mistreat you. Yoga simply said a few words to them, then went to the high platform in the plaza with Zishang. Zishang stood behind Yoga. His tall figure was like a mountain, and a sharp and dangerous aura spread in the air, as if it wanted to steal the air away. The beastmen surrounding the high platform all tensed up, looking at Zishang with eyes full of fear. It was only when Yoga spoke that the suffocating atmosphere was broken. I believe that Elder Bai and Chief Ming have already told you about the demonic aura. You must have a lot of questions in your hearts. Today, I will explain it to you all. Yoga didn't waste any time and directly released the Knoll and Ash. She then told them about how Nangon you released the strange disease, used the Gaga grass to demonize the Knoll, and made the magic stone weapon to pollute Ash. The beastmen were in an uproar. The centaurs and ox-headed tribes' faces were ashen. Their tribes were also sick before. If it wasn't for the eagle men coming to help them, they would have ended up like the Knoll. Miss Yin, can they still be saved? What if they get the strange disease? Meng and Blackhorn asked at the same time. I haven't found a way to save them yet. However, you don't have to be afraid of the strange disease. It's because your bodies are too weak to resist the death aura. As long as you have a full stomach, you will be able to resist it. Yoga didn't mention that the golden light could dispel the demonic aura. This kind of thing was only suitable for private research. Then what should we do? Will we all become puppets in the end? Blackhorn looked at the Knoll's lifeless eyes. He didn't want to become like that at all. So I need you to move the beastmen of the other tribes into Cloud City as soon as possible. You beastmen have no resistance to the demonic aura. It will only get more and more dangerous outside, Yoga said. Nangon, you must have taken control of many tribes. He had to save them as soon as possible. The Boar people next door also got the strange disease. I will go find them tomorrow, Blackhorn said quickly. The Boar people were too arrogant and didn't believe Elder Bai's words, so they didn't follow them. Next, I will research a new way to dispel the demonic aura. If you need anything, you can go find Elder Bai and Chief Ming. They will be in charge of everything in and out of the city. Yun Jioga called Elder Bai and Meng over. The two beastmen held their heads high and were very proud. They felt that the wisest decision in their lives was to seek refuge with Yun Jioga. I will leave the matters of Cloud City to you. If there's anything you don't understand, ask me. Yun Jioga finished speaking and left the small plaza. The most important thing now was to find out the secret of the golden light and absorb it before Nangongyu did. Why don't you take the opportunity to find Li Wei? Zishang didn't understand. He felt that Yun Jioga was wasting too much time on saving these beastmen. I did a divination a while ago and found that Li Wei is currently very safe. We don't need to go find him. He will appear when he needs to. If we carelessly reveal his whereabouts, it will be disadvantageous to him, Yun Jioga said. Chapter 5:21. You mean Nangongyu and Cho-san don't know Li Wei is here? Zishang raised a brow. They will only think that Yun Wei is here. Other than Yun Jioga and Zishang, no one else knew that Yun Wei was Li Wei's reincarnation. Don't underestimate the difference. Yun Wei was just a pill master, but Li Wei was her divine guard. Nangongyu would make a wrong judgment if she didn't know his true identity. This was the best protection for Li Wei. If Yun Jioga went to find Li Wei openly, it would help Nangongyu said direction. I see. Zishang was very confident in Yun Jioga's divination skills. Yun Jioga and Zishang came to an empty house and let Gua and the rabbit elder out. He wanted to check if they were injured. However, the rabbit elder said angrily, "You lied to us." I didn't. You should have heard what I said at the square. We didn't capture you on purpose. Yun Jioga felt helpless. These rabbits were really sensitive and suspicious. The slightest movement could make them flip out. You said you would save our people. Where are they now? The rabbit elder pressed. Here. Yun Jioga let the rabbit leader out. Leader, elder. The two old rabbits hugged each other and started crying. They didn't look wise at all. Miss Yun, how's that Gu? Gua ran to Yun Jioga and asked with red eyes. When she was captured, she only saw Gu fall to the bottom of the cliff with heavy injuries. He's fine. He's recovering at Eagle Cliff. If you want to see him, I'll get Aze to send you there, Yun Jioga said while checking Gua's pulse. Luckily, Gua was very healthy and the baby was fine. Gua looked at the leader and the elder hesitantly and shook her head. I'll go see Gu later. The elder had a huge misunderstanding about Miss Yun. She was worried that the elder would leave with his people in a fit of anger. She could stay and persuade them. Yun Jioga looked at the rabbit leader and elder who were hugging each other and said, If you don't want to stay, I won't force you. Find Elder Bai if you have any problems. Then, he turned and walked out of the house. You're too kind to them. Zishang's expression was a little displeased. Those rabbits didn't know what was good for them, so they should be locked up and taught a lesson. Or they could be directly used for research. There are so many shape-shifting orcs. They're not the only ones we need. When Dummy wakes up, he'll know the secret of the golden light. If the rabbit tribe was the only answer, Yun Jioga would harden her heart and deal with them. But she didn't want to be the bad guy right now. All right, Zishang had originally wanted to secretly make the rabbit tribe suffer a little. Now that he saw that Yun Jioga really didn't care about it at all, he dispelled that thought. Yun Jioga came to the guest hall and ordered Aze, call Elder Bai over. Yes. Aze nodded and called Elder Bai over. Miss Yin, have you rescued the rabbit tribe? Elder Bai asked as soon as she sat down. The military counselor had already told her that Gua could transform. He really hoped that Yun Jioga could find the secret of the golden light from the rabbit tribe. That way, the orc race would be saved. Yes, but they don't know the secret of the golden light. We can only wait for Dummy to wake up to know the answer. Yun Jioga was worried that Elder Bai would harm the rabbit tribe, so she helped them. It seems we still have to rely on our prince. Elder Bai felt it was a pity, but for some reason, he felt proud. That's right. We can only rely on him. Yoga's affirmation made Elder Bai even more proud. By the way, the Divine Messenger has already set up a secret base in the Death Swamp to capture shape-shifting orcs everywhere. You must speed up the rescue operation. Also, send people to escort the Leopard Tribe and Lizard Tribe back. Yoga took out Little Flower and Big Ears keepsakes. Yes, Elder Bai took the keepsakes solemnly and began to think about how to complete this mission. This was different from taking back the Centaur Tribe and the Oxhuman Tribe. This was a mission personally issued by Yoga. If he couldn't complete it perfectly, it would be troublesome. Yoga sent Elder Bai away and was about to rest when she heard Azay say that the Rabbit Tribe's leader and Elder wanted to see her. Let them in. Yoga nodded. These rabbits discussed very quickly. Lady Yin, we've decided. We hope to stay in Yun City, the Rabbit Tribe's leader and Elder said respectfully to Yoga. Sure, I'll tell Meng to arrange it for you. Yoga was letting Elder Bai lead the Eagle Tribe against the outside world and Meng lead the Serpent Tribe against the inside world. This was their reward for joining him first. Lady Yun, I was too emotional before and was disrespectful to you. Please forgive me, the Rabbit Tribe's leader said guiltily. It's nothing, I can understand. Yoga then put on a look that said, what else do you want? The Rabbit Tribe's leader and Elder glanced at each other. Then, the Rabbit Tribe's leader walked up and said to Yoga, you asked about the origin of the golden light in our bodies. I thought about it and remembered that the ancestors left some clues. What clues? Yoga raised an eyebrow. These rabbits were indeed hiding something. Lady Yun, before I tell you this clue, I hope that you can fulfill a few small requests of our rabbit tribe. The tribe's leader said bravely. Say it. As long as it's not too excessive, I can fulfill it. Yoga didn't dislike the rabbit's petty thoughts as long as they didn't go overboard. First, I hope that you can choose a suitable base in the city, the tribe's leader said carefully. You can only choose a base that hasn't been occupied. Yoga wouldn't chase away other beastmen for them. Of course, the tribe's leader said hurriedly. All right, what's the second request? Yoga saw that the tribe's leader didn't look like an idiot. He probably wouldn't make any ridiculous requests. Second, I hope that you can accept a Meng as your guard. He's the strongest warrior of our rabbit tribe, and also the fastest beastman in transformation. With him around, your safety will be guaranteed. The rabbit tribe's leader spoke of Demeng proudly. Sure. Yoga nodded. Demeng's male rabbit looked quite strong. Lady Yun, you are so generous. I thank you on behalf of the rabbit tribe. The rabbit tribe's leader knew when to stop. You only have these two requests. Yoga was very surprised. These were just two small requests. Even if they didn't use the clues about the golden light, she would still agree. Chapter 522. Yes, that's all. The leader nodded. Of course, she wanted more, but greedy rabbits didn't make people like them. I can give you two more requests. Tell me when you think of them. Yoga didn't want to take advantage of these two rabbits. Thank you for your kindness. The leader of the rabbits was happy. She knew Yoga was a generous person. She wouldn't lose out if she followed him. Okay, now tell me what the clue is, Yoga said. It's blood, the leader of the rabbits said seriously. Blood. Yoga immediately thought of what Little Flower had said. Cho-sun had captured the orcs and locked them in cages to drink their blood. Could drinking blood absorb the power of the golden light? If that was true, wasn't the leader of the rabbits afraid that he would eat them? Yes, it's our blood. After we give birth to our children, we feed them a little of our blood to stimulate their strength. However, this method only works on our people. It doesn't work on other beastmen, including the other group of rabbit people. The rabbit chief was gambling that Yoga wouldn't hurt them by revealing this secret. I need some of your blood to prove this. Yoga didn't think the rabbits were lying, but he still had to verify it. Of course, you can take mine, the leader of the rabbits said. No, take mine. The rabbit elder, who hadn't said anything, walked forward. Her red eyes looked at Yoga and said, if you need, I can stay by your side and let you examine me. You don't have to be so nervous. You aren't the only orcs that could transform. Yin Joga told them about Little Flower and Big Ear. He wanted the rabbit people to relax. I didn't expect Little Flower and Big Ear to have the golden light. It looks like the secret of the golden light is deep. The leader of the rabbits and the elder knew Little Flower and Big Ear. They relaxed when they heard they had companions. You can take the blood yourself. I want the blood of all of your people. I don't need too much. 1 bottle is enough for each of you. Yin Joga took out a few hundred transparent crystal bottles that were the size of a thumb. He said, "Remember to write the names on the bottles. Don't confuse them." Yes. The rabbit elder and the leader took the bottles and left respectfully. After the two left Yin Joga's house, they sighed in relief. They were both glad that they had survived. Telling a secret like this had put a lot of pressure on them. Luckily, Yin Joga's reaction was within their expectations. I hope we weren't wrong. The rabbit elder laughed bitterly. She was a pessimist by nature, so this kind of adventure did not suit her. However, she had no other choice. She had just walked around with the elder and was stunned by the majestic castle. She had just gone out for a stroll with the elder and was stunned by this majestic castle. Without a doubt, this kind of castle would become the beastman's reliance to resist the cold, hunger, and death. Currently, the eaglemen and nagas had already gained a foothold in the castle, while the centaurs and oxmen had arrived earlier than them. In the future, they would also be put in an important position. The rabbit tribe was finished. Previously, they had been disrespectful to Yin Joga. Even if they could stay in Cloud City, they would be at the bottom. The rabbit tribe leader didn't want this to happen. In order to gain a place in Cloud City, she took the risk to reveal the secret. Let's go. Let's choose a base before drawing the blood of our tribesmen. The rabbit chief had already chosen to believe Yin Joga. Thus, he did not think too much about it. They led their clansmen to choose a fertile place to settle down, then asked Great Ming to send the blood samples of all their clansmen over. Put it there. Yin Joga had already remodeled his house. There was a row of wooden racks by the wall that were specially used to store blood samples. At this time, there were already 3 tubes of blood on it. They belonged to Dummy, Xiaohua, and Big Ear. Deming carefully poured all the blood into it, then looked at Yin Joga in awe. "Miss Yin, do you have any other orders?" Yin Joga was taking notes. Without raising his head, he said, "There's nothing else. You can go down now." Yes. After Deming left, he automatically stood guard at the left door. Ah Zhe, who was dozing off to the right, saw Deming and said unhappily, "Rabbit, go back to where you belong after delivering the things. Don't block the way. This is where I should go." Deming looked at Ah Zhe coldly. "The place you should go is the rabbit house, not here." Ah Zhe raised his eyebrows and made a fierce look. "Miss Yin has already agreed to take me as a guard. You have no right to chase me away." Deming raised his chin and looked at Ah Zhe with disdain. "That's impossible. Only the eaglemen can be Miss Yin's guard. You're just a male rabbit. What right do you have to steal our position?" Ah Zhe realized that he was being looked down upon by a rabbit. He was furious. They had fought with the Naga several times to get the position of guard. "Because I can defeat you," Deming said in a low voice. Before coming, the chief told him that he didn't need to hide his power. He had to let Miss Yin see his value. "Huh, a rabbit dares to say that he can defeat me?" Aze thought this male rabbit was crazy. "If you don't believe me, come and try." Deming showed a provocative expression. "I'll beat you to death." Aze immediately flapped his wings and charged at Deming. His fist brought with it a sharp sound of wind. Deming rolled on the ground and dodged to the side. "Little rabbit, how come you're down before I even hit you?" Aze laughed. Just when he was about to give Deming a lesson, he felt a pain in his chest. His body flew out involuntarily. Deming jumped up from the ground and chased after Aze with extreme speed. His fists landed on Aze's body, pressing him to the ground and beating him up. The orcs who passed by surrounded them and cheered as they watched the commotion. "Aze, aren't you an eagleman? How come you're beaten up like this by the rabbit man?" "Ha ha, rabbits used to be the food of eagles. Now it's the other way around." Elderby heard the commotion and rushed over. Seeing that Aze was beaten black and blue, he was about to go up and stop him. "Don't move." Yin Joga stopped Elderby. She had heard the commotion and came out. Miss Yin, if you continue, Aze will go crazy. Then, that male rabbit will be in danger, Elder Bai said urgently. Aze will go crazy? What does that mean? Yin Jioga's heart jumped. Don't think that Aze looks dumb and easy to bully. When he's really angry, he's very scary. Elder Bai hurriedly recounted Aze's past. Chapter 523. His parents passed away when he was very young, leaving his brother, who was 3 years younger than him, to depend on each other. The tribe would distribute food to them regularly, but it wasn't enough to fill their stomachs. One day, Aze saw that his brother was very hungry, so he sneaked him out of Eagle Cliff to pick fruits. He didn't expect to enter the territory of Gale wolf rabbits. Gale wolf rabbits were mutated species. They looked like rabbits, but were crueler and more ferocious than wolves. The Gale wolf rabbit tore Aze's brother apart and swallowed him. At the time, Zay was only 10. When he saw his brother get killed, he suddenly went crazy. Not only did he kill the rabbits, but he also injured the people who went to find them. Later on, the old tribe leader personally brought him back. Elder Bai still had lingering fear when he talked about the past. Aze, who was covered in wolf blood, was as scary as a demon. Although he returned to normal after waking up, he would lose control when he saw the Gale wolf rabbit. He would even be very aggressive when he saw the rabbit race. It wasn't until Agu's rabbit companion, Gua, appeared that his hostility toward the rabbit race decreased. But now that he was being suppressed by Demeng, he might very well go crazy. It would be too late to stop him. Was the golden light the reason for Aze's madness? Yun Jioga was still mulling over this problem when he heard Zishang say coldly, Aze, it was because you were too useless that your brother was killed by the Gale wolf rabbit. What are you talking about? Zishang was clearly rubbing salt on Aze's wound. Yun Jioga wanted to beat him to death. Aze, who was waving his fists randomly, immediately froze when he heard Zishang's words. Demeng flipped away from Aze. He just wanted to prove his power. He didn't want to hurt others. Aze, are you okay? Elder Bai asked worriedly. Aze looked up. His eagle eyes were eerily red. He let out a shrill scream and leaped toward Great Meng crazily. Demeng blocked with his hand, but felt his arm was about to break. He couldn't help but fly back. He quickly steadied himself and counterattacked, punching at Aze's ribs. Aze dodged to the side and fought with Demeng. Hurry up and open your spirit eye to check. Zishang urged Yun Jioga. I already opened it. Yun Jioga opened his spirit eye and found that Aze's golden light was like a burning flame. The fuel was his life force. Quick, capture Zay, Yun Jioga said urgently. If this continued, Zay would really go crazy. Zishang immediately stopped Zay. Zay struggled with all his might, almost flipping Z to cease, sword over. Yun Jioga flicked out his moon spirit threads and tied him up. Then, he quickly pricked him with needles to let out his blood. Zay's meridians were blocked. The golden light gradually faded, but he was unconscious. Is Zay okay? Elder Bai quickly came over. I'm fine. I just need to rest for a few days. Yun Jioga stood up and looked at Demeng. You're injured. Do you want to go back and rest? No need. It's just a superficial wound. Demeng shook his head. The golden light on his body could heal wounds. Zay was strong, but he didn't deal a fatal injury to him. That's good. Yun Jioga took Zay in to get his blood drawn and let Elder Bai send him back to Eagle Cliff. At this time, Yun Jioga had already received 4 blood samples and placed them on the wooden shelves. The leopard men race and the lizard men race each took charge. The eagle men race had 2. The rabbit men race had 500. The blood samples of the 4 races were clearly different. The leopard men and lizard men race's blood was a little gray. It looked like they were slightly infected by devil chi. The rabbit men race's blood was very light. Some of it might have been absorbed by their bones, skin, and flesh. Zay's blood was fiery red. This was a special characteristic of his berserk race. Dummy's blood was the brightest. It was golden and warm. It was also the thickest of all the blood samples. Yun Jioga tried to put the rabbit men race's blood together with the eagle men and leopard men race's blood. There was a violent collision between the two. In the end, they melted into a pool of blood. If their blood is incompatible, why did Chosun suck their blood? Zishang asked. Maybe he's practicing some technique that can counteract this effect. Yunjuga guessed. Looks like I still have to drag him out of Grey Castle and ask him. Zishang rubbed his chin. He was thinking about how to attack Grey Castle. First, you have to get rid of the death chi and miasma. This Fei can help. Second, you have to get rid of the puppet orcs. This is a little troublesome, Yunjuga analyzed, because the puppet orcs were not afraid of death or pain. Ordinary orcs cannot do that. Grey Castle should have many magic stone tools. Ordinary orcs could not resist them. In the current situation, we can only make the orcs awaken the golden light as soon as possible. If we can awaken a golden light orc army, then attacking Grey Castle will not be a problem. Zishang thought for a while and said, so far, it seems that there are 3 ways to awaken the orcs. First, blood inheritance. Second, the death of a loved one. Third, life and death. We just have to simulate these 3 situations and throw the orcs in. Then, we can harvest a large number of golden light orcs. This is just a hypothesis. We can't test it before we are sure. Yunjuga glared at Zishang. This was the key to conquering the orc tribe. What if they were scared away? Then I hope you can test it as soon as possible. Time is limited. Chosun and Nangong, you will not sit still and wait for us to catch up. Zishang shrugged. Instead of boasting to me here, why don't you go and help Elder Bai and Meng? The more orcs you gather, the closer we will be to the golden light. Yunjuga said as he pushed Zishang out of the door to prevent him from causing trouble. After driving Zishang out, Yunjuga called Meng over. Miss Yun, what can I do for you? He looked at Yunjuga fervently. Elder Bai had been summoned many times, and even the rabbit tribe leader had come once. However, he had not been summoned even once. He was really worried that the Naga tribe had fallen out of favor. Meng, how many orcs are controlled by the demonic energy? Yunjuga asked. There are 10 now. 5 are Nagas, 3 are centaurs, and 2 are bulls. Meng's voice was heavy. It was all his fault for leading his people to seek refuge with the oracle. That was why his people were controlled. If they had not met Yunjuga, they would have ended up like the Knoll tribe. Bring them to the house at the back of the mountain. I will see if I can cure them. The area at the back of the mountain had been designated as a prison by Ian Shirley. Yunjuga planned to conduct his experiment on activating the orc's golden light there. I will bring them there now. Meng turned around and left. Just as Yunjuga was about to move the blood sample and the wooden frame to the back of the mountain, Demeng came in and reported that the military advisor of the Eagle tribe was requesting an audience. Tell him to wait for me in the guest hall. Yunjuga put the blood sample and the wooden frame into his storage bag and walked out of the guest hall. Miss Yun, the military advisor quickly stood up when he saw Yunjuga. He placed his fist on his left chest and saluted. Chapter 524. Sit. How's your injury? Yunjuga saw the counselor look fine. He should have recovered well. My injury is healed thanks to you. Egu has woken up too. He's with Gua in the city. Counselor sat down. Wait a moment. When Yunjuga heard this, he called the Meng in and said, Later, tell Chief Meng to remember all the pregnant beast men. Every morning, I'll check on them in the house beside the plaza. Then, I will give each pregnant woman an extra portion of food. Yes, sir. Demeng answered loudly and went out. Lady Yun, you only have Demeng as your bodyguard. I'm afraid it won't be enough. Why don't I send Ah Ping and Ah Fei over? The military advisor asked carefully. No need. Zay is enough. Yunjuga shook his head. She could protect herself. She didn't need so many orcs as guards. Zay is your guard, but he lost control when he was on duty. He failed to live up to your trust. Counselor lowered his head in shame. If Zay wasn't still unconscious, he would have tied him up and dragged him over. They finally got a good position next to Lady Yun because of the human race, but it was ruined by Zay. Don't blame Zay. He'll still be my guard when he recovers, Yunjuga said. I'm afraid he won't have the face to see you. Counselor shook his head. Yunjuga thought about it and said, How about this? I'm going to set up a personal guard team. There will be 2 eagle people, snake people, rabbit people, centaur people, and bull people. Zay will be the captain, and Amon will be the vice captain. What do you think? If Zay is the captain, the whole team will fall apart. Counselor showed an exaggerated expression. Although he was grateful for Yun Joga's trust in the eagle people, Zay was really unreliable. Then let it be the vice captain. Yun Joga smiled and said, I recently discovered some clues that might be able to stimulate the golden light in an orc's body. Do you want to investigate it with me? The military advisor was quite smart, and it would be good to have him as an assistant. It's my honor. Counselor suppressed his excitement and bowed to Yun Joga. Then go to the back mountain and see if Meng brought the orcs there. Yun Joga said, yes. After the military counselor left, Yun Joga called him on in and asked him to inform the Beastman Patriarch to select his personal guards. I'll go now. Demeng did not know that he was about to become the team leader. He was overjoyed when he heard that he could choose another rabbit man. Yun Joga left the meeting hall and went to the back of the mountain. There was a large wall at the back of the mountain, and inside it was a low gray prison cell. The prison had 2 floors, and there were more than 10 small cells on the ground. The dungeon was used to hold important people. Yun Joga pushed the door open and walked into the cell. He saw that Meng and the military advisor had already placed the out-of-control orc in a large cell. Among the Nagas were Aunt Gaga and 4 middle-aged female Nagas who used to plant the Gaga grass. The centaurs were 2 aunties, while the oxen were 2 youths. Both of their expressions were numb, their eyes lifeless. These people are controlled because they have been in contact with the magic stone for a long time. Meng briefly explained their situation. I got it. You can go back to your work. Yun Joga waved his hand and left respectfully. Miss Yun, how do you plan to test their golden light? The military counselor asked excitedly. Based on my research, there are 3 ways for orcs to awaken their golden light. First, it's through blood inheritance. Second, it's the death of their loved ones. Third, it's a matter of life and death. I want to simulate this situation and see if I can awaken them. However, based on the information she had collected so far, those who could awaken their golden light were all young and strong men. It would be difficult for the old, weak, women, and children. However, she could only try her best in this situation. Miss Yin, why don't you let me try? The military counselor did not believe that the old, weak, women and children could awaken their golden light. Yun Joga looked at the military counselor. He was a good seedling. The Eagle Squad is willing to be your test subject. No matter what happens, we will not complain. The military counselor swore with a serious face. The fate of the gnolls had alerted all the orcs. Awakening the golden light was the only way out. He was willing to pay any price for it. All right, I agree to your request. However, let's use them for the test first. The gray gas in their brains is easier to observe. It won't be too late to use it on you after I find a suitable plan. Good steel should be used where it matured. She would use the military counselor as a test subject after the plan was mature. It would be best if she could succeed in one shot. Yes, the military counselor nodded. Then he asked seriously, what do we do now? There are no rabbit men here, so we can't use the blood inheritance. Let's try the other 2 first. Find out the family situation of these orcs first, Yun Joga ordered. The military counselor was stunned. He asked nervously, are you going to kill their relatives? Do I look like such a cruel and stupid person? Yun Joga was speechless. What did the military counselor think of her? No. The military counselor nodded honestly. He was also ashamed of his sudden idea. All right, do your investigation well. I'm going out for a while. Yun Joga left the back of the mountain and prepared to look for Ian Shirley in the plantation. The plantation had expanded for a few more miles. The gray wall divided the vast and fertile land, which would be given to the orcs as their territory. Yun Joga did not walk through the tunnel. Instead, she jumped onto the wall. She looked down from above and saw that the territory of the Naga tribe had already grown large yellow grass. The walls were covered in moss. The Naga tribe had built a row of wooden houses near the entrance. It was said that these houses were personally designed by Shirley. The orcs lived on the upper floors, while the livestock were kept on the lower floors. Now, there were many elk, pheasants, goats, and other wild beasts. These wild beasts wanted to escape at first. Later, when they realized that they could eat and drink here and that it was safe, they succumbed one by one. The large grass and moss in the territory of the horse race and the ox race next door had also started to grow. They also lived in stilted houses. There were also wild beasts downstairs. They were prepared to exchange them with other races in the future. Moreover, because they were herbivores, these wild beasts were very tame. They were much easier to deal with than the Naga tribe. The territory chosen by the rabbit men was at the border of the other races' territories. Although they had only been here for 2 days, rows of stilted houses had already been built. They were really good at planting. The large grass and moss grew faster than the horse race and the ox race. On a sturdy, stilted house, Gu said to Agu, "If you live here with me, we can raise some wild beasts under the stilted house." "All right, I'll listen to you." Agu was a henpecked man. He would do whatever Gwar said. "Then why are you still standing there? Go and catch them." Gwar patted Agu's wings reproachfully. "I'll go now." Agu immediately flapped his wings and left. He turned into a small black dot in the sky. Chapter 5:25. Yunjoga was in an indescribably good mood as she looked at this lively scene. She didn't want to disturb the working orcs, so she covered herself with moon spirit silk and walked along the wall. When she passed by the rabbit people's territory, she saw the rabbit chief walking to her stilted house and seemed to be watering it. Yunjoga took a closer look and realized that the land was planted with carrots. After the black rain disaster, countless edible plants died, leaving only the strong wild grass. Now, only the rabbit people grew carrots in the entire Cloud City. She felt that it was necessary to study it. Yunjoga jumped off the wall and removed her disguise. She pretended to casually walk past the rabbit people's gate. "Miss Yin, why are you here? Come in and sit." Gwa saw her and immediately came out excitedly. The rabbit chief, who had just finished watering, came out and invited Yunjoga to visit. The other busy rabbit people also hurried over and looked at her with respect and admiration. "How are you guys living here?" Yunjoga smiled and walked into the rabbit people's territory. "It's very good here. Thank you for giving us such a safe territory." The rabbit elder was happy from the bottom of her heart. After the black rain disaster, they hadn't felt safe and relaxed like this for a long time. "That's good. You guys go ahead. I'll just have a chat with the chief." Yunjoga waved her hand and let the rabbit people continue with their work. "Miss Yin, this way please." The rabbit chief thought that Yunjoga was looking for her, so she led her to her stilted house. The chief's stilted house was in the corner of the territory. Other than a bunch of dried green carrot leaves hanging at the door, it was no different from the other rabbit people's stilted houses. Yunjoga didn't go upstairs. She walked directly to the first floor. The rabbit chief hurriedly followed and smiled. "This place is dirty and broken. There's nothing to see here." "Really? I think it's good that you're planting carrots here," Yunjoga said with a smile. The rabbit chief was stunned. She smiled calmly. "I really can't hide anything from you. These carrots are planted for the cubs of the tribe to eat. However, they've just been planted. It'll take at least a month for them to grow. If they're successful, I'll send some over for you to try." "How did you plant them?" Yunjoga asked casually. "Just plant it casually. The land here is alive, so it should be able to succeed," the rabbit elder said. Yunjoga took a whiff and immediately frowned. "You used blood to plant carrots?" The rabbit tribe leader was stunned, unable to reply for a long time. "I noticed that the weeds in your territory are growing very well. Don't tell me you guys use your blood to grow them?" Yunjoga looked straight into the eyes of the rabbit tribe leader. "No." The rabbit chief laughed bitterly and said, "We're not blood rabbits. How can we treat our blood as rain and scatter it everywhere? I have no choice. Newborn babies can only eat this. Have you always used blood to plant them?" Yunjoga asked. "No, it's because we couldn't grow carrots anymore after the black rain, so we used blood to grow them." The rabbit chief shook his head. What about before the black rain disaster? Yoga continued asking. At that time, as long as we watered them on time, the carrots would grow. That was why the rabbit chief hated the black rain disaster. How about this? I'll give you a mission. Open up 2 more plots of land to plant carrots. One plot will be watered on time like before, and the other plot will be watered with your feces. Yoga wanted to do a test to see if there was any difference between the carrots grown on the 3 plots of land. Want to be very dirty to use feces on the ground? The rabbit chief looked hesitant. She did not understand what Yoga meant. Animal feces are the best nutrients for the land. Yoga saw the rabbit chief's confused expression, so he told her the method of fermenting feces. Then he encouraged her. Try it. You'll discover a new world. All right, I'll my tribesmen try it later. The rabbit chief nodded seriously. She could sense that the method Yoga gave them was very important. As a reward, I'll give you these cabbage seeds. You could try planting them when you have the time. Yoga took out the most common cabbage seeds in the mortal realm from his storage bag. He had randomly collected them in Thunder Nation and placed them inside. These cabbages were easy to plant and had a high yield. Once they were planted, they would be good food. Thank you, Miss Yun. The rabbit chief took the seeds respectfully and immediately felt that she was valued. She became more friendly to Brother Yoga. Don't let anyone know about the blood-bred carrots. Do you understand? Yoga warned sternly. If the carrots produced by the rabbit blood had any special effects, then these rabbits must be protected. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. Don't worry, Miss Yun. Only you know about this method. The rabbit chief was not a fool. This carrot field was a secret even in her tribe. No one knew about it except the elders. That's good. Take care of yourself. Your tribesmen still need you. Yoga looked at the knife marks hidden under the hide of the rabbit elder. He admired her selfless spirit. The rabbit chief smiled. She was very grateful for Yoga's concern. After Yoga left under the enthusiastic gaze of the rabbit people, he went to look for Shirley. Shirley was still building a wall with his wife and child. Fei, who was beside him, was working hard to turn a dead land into a living land. Ever since Zishang took Fei away on the day he built the city, this little black and white butterfly had been working diligently. It had already become a divine beast in the hearts of the orcs. They worshipped it as much as she did. Master, look at how much living land I've made. Fei flapped her wings and flew over when she saw Yoga. She looked very proud. Good job. Yoga patted Fei's head encouragingly and fed her a few cherry pills. Fei swallowed the cherry pill and went back to work eagerly. She felt a sense of mission now. Opening up a living land meant more food. If she gave it to the orcs, she could save many lives. Miss Yun, why are you here? Shirley walked over after he finished the last brick. His wife and child continued working on the same spot. I want you to help me create an illusion, Yoga said straightforwardly. The amount of yin-yang qi I have is enough to build a wall. I'm afraid I can't create an illusion. Shirley frowned. He had been oppressed by Zishang for the past few days. He was about to puke from building a wall. I'll build a formation first. You just have to inject some yin-yang qi into it. It won't take much effort. Yoga couldn't bear to part with her divine power. She could only look for Shirley. All right, Shirley was just grumbling. He didn't forget that Fan had given him a mission. He had to listen to all of Yoga's orders. Chapter 5:26. Then let's go now. Where are they? Yoga looked at the 2 figures, one big and one small. Wait for me. Shirley walked over to Yoga after putting away his wife and child in the corpse refinement bag. Fei, let's go. Yoga waved at little butterfly. I'm not going. I'm not done yet. Fei focused on converting the death energy without looking at Yoga. No one is guarding you. You can't come out by yourself. Yoga personally grabbed its little wings and threatened it sternly. Be careful not to be taken away and turned into a fried butterfly. I'm so cute. Who would want to fry me? Fei muttered, but it still landed on Yoga's shoulder obediently. Your master is right. You're the most precious thing in the entire mystic realm. If Cho's son and the rest discover your existence, they'll definitely capture you at all costs. Ever since Ian Shirley found out that Fei Fei was the Yin Yang reincarnation butterfly, he admired Yun Joga's boldness. He was actually willing to let such a precious thing work without fear of being robbed. Master won't let me be captured, Fei Fei retorted indignantly. Then it silently shrunk its body. Don't scare it. Yin Joga stuffed another 2 cherry pills into Fei Fei's hands to prevent it from abandoning its task. The two returned to the prison at the back of the mountain. The military counselor had already gone to find Meng to understand the situation. The 10 dumbfounded beastmen were still locked up in their cells. You set up the illusion for them? Ian Shirley raised his eyebrows. This was overkill. Not for them, for the beastmen. Yin Joga brought Ian Shirley down the stairs to the underground prison. The underground prison was dark and gloomy. There was no light at all. It emitted a damp, moldy, and cold aura. Yin Joga lit a torch and stuck it on the wall. Then he took out a spirit stone and started setting up a formation. You know the 9 Hells transformation in illusion? Ian Shirley widened his eyes in shock. This illusion had been circulating among the evil sects for a long time. Even he had not had the chance to see it. He did not expect it to appear on Yin Joga. What's wrong with that? Do you think my title of goddess is fake? Yin Joga dipped the cinnabar in and drew on the spirit stone. Runes with mysterious powers appeared on the spirit stone. She was too lazy to use her brain when Zishang was around, but that did not mean that she was brainless. After being a goddess for so many years, there was nothing in the world that she didn't understand. It was just that those memories had been sealed away by her and would only be rummaged through when needed. Are you really a goddess? Although Ian Shirley had already guessed Yin Joga's identity, he was still very surprised to hear her admit it. Why? Didn't Fanine tell you about me? Yin Joga chatted with Ian Shirley as he drew. Master Fan, Ian has never mentioned your identity. However, to be valued by him, I feel that you are not an ordinary person, Ian Shirley replied cautiously. In reality, the first time he met Yin Joga, he was very disappointed. Yin Joga was simply too weak. The only thing that stood out about him was his purple deceased sword. After Yin Joga joined the Yin Corp sect, he had been secretly observing to see if Yin Joga was hiding anything. After that, Ink Flower, White Bones, and Cho-san worked together to force Yin Joga, but Yin Joga still focused on escaping. He was so disappointed that he even suspected that Fan Ian had been deceived. But now, Ian Shirley finally understood that Yin Joga's strength wasn't due to her martial strength. Instead, it was due to her inexplicable strength that made people believe in her. Reality proved that she was always right. I wasn't ordinary in the past, but I can't anymore. You still have to rely on yourselves to save this world. Yin Joga placed the spirit stones on Ian Shirley's palm and said, Use your Yin Yang Qi to carve the spirit stones according to the rune patterns. I will teach you how to place them later. Okay, Ian Shirley replied impatiently and started to analyze the rune pattern seriously. After he was done, these rune patterns were also carved in his mind. Next, Yin Joga taught him how to bury these spirit stones deep into the ground according to the position of the 9 nether formation. It's done. You can go back and build your wall now. Yin Joga clapped her hands and prepared to leave. Lady Yin, actually, those walls aren't that urgent. I can stay by your side and continue working. Ian Shirley learned the 9 nether transformation in illusory formation and realized that he had a better future by staying by Yin Joga's side. Are you sure you're not in a hurry? Yin Joga turned to look at Ian Shirley and said with a faint smile, Wait for Zishang to tell me that. Don't. I'll go back and build the wall now. Ian Shirley couldn't help but tremble when he heard Zishang's name. That despicable fiendish demon wanted to squeeze his bone marrow dry. If he found out that he was slacking off, he would be finished. Take Fei Fei away. Remember to look after it. Yin Joga placed Fei Fei on Ian Shirley's shoulder. Transforming the deathly aura was what the little butterfly should be doing. Don't worry. Even if I lose my wife and child, I won't lose it. This was definitely the heaviest oath Ian Shirley had ever made. Don't be nervous. You just have to look after it and don't let it run around. Yin Joga still believed in Ian Shirley. Moreover, Feifei had the ability to protect itself. It was just that one more person meant one more safety. Not long after Ian Shirley left with Feifei, the military counselor and a Meng hurried over. Behind them were the Eagle Man, Ah Fei, and an unfamiliar female rabbit person. Sir, Elder Bai recommended Ah Fei to be your guard, the military counselor said. All right. Yun Joga nodded and looked at the female rabbit person behind Meng. This rabbit person had slightly dark skin and short hair. Her slender figure was full of explosive power. Her expressionless face looked even colder than ash. Facing Yun Joga's scrutinizing gaze, she only said 4 words, I am Maya. Maya was sent here by the chief. She's an expert in our tribe. It's just that she doesn't like to talk, Demeng hurriedly said. Actually, Maya was stronger than him. It was just that her personality was too strange. That was why the chief did not send her here. This time, when she heard that the guards were going to expand, she decided to send Maya here. Very good. You don't have to talk much to be my guard. Yin Joga nodded. Then, he looked at the military counselor and said, Have you finished what I asked you to do? Yes. This is the relationship between Aunt Gaga and the others. The military counselor took out a stone slab and began to explain to Yin Joga. In summary, Aunt Gaga and the others had no children. They only had collateral relatives. That was why they were sent to interact with the magical stones. Do you still want to try? The military counselor asked carefully. Of course. Why not? Bring them to the dungeon. The few of you guard outside. Yin Joga turned and walked towards the dungeon. The military counselor brought Aunt Gaga and the others into the dungeon. According to Yin Joga's instructions, they tied them up in a corner. Come here. Yin Joga sat in a small room beside the dungeon and waved at the military counselor. What do you do next? The military counselor walked in and asked. Nothing. Just watch them. Yin Joga threw a spirit stone into the dungeon. The 9 Gloom in illusion was officially activated. Chapter 5:27. The spirit stone that Yin Joga threw fell to the ground silently. The 9 Nether Shift in illusion was activated instantly. A faint black fog rose and enveloped Aunt Gaga and the other beastmen. The military advisor opened his eyes wide, trying to see what was going on inside. Unfortunately, his field of vision was completely dark. Miss Yin, what's going on? The military advisor turned around to ask Yin Joga, only to see her solemn expression. Her pupils flickered with a faint golden light as she stared unblinkingly at the beastmen inside the formation. Calm down and take a look. The black fog is their current soul state. Only by breaking free can they awaken the golden light. Yin Joga reminded the military advisor without looking back. Yes. The military advisor calmed down and took a closer look. The black fog was swaying wildly, as if someone was trying to break free. Yin Joga could see more clearly than the military advisor. The 10 beastmen were struggling in the illusion. Unfortunately, the power of the illusion was too strong. Soon, 2 Naga females fainted due to physical exhaustion and were automatically ejected from the illusion. This was the protection mechanism that Yin Joga had set up to prevent them from being trapped inside. Gradually, more and more beastmen were ejected from the illusion. Finally, only the 2 bull-headed youths and Aunt Gaga were left. It seems like physical strength and vitality are also important conditions for awakening, Yin Joga muttered to herself. Aunt Gaga was the strongest among the 10 beastmen, while the bull-headed youths were the youngest. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the 2 bull-headed youths were also ejected. Only Aunt Gaga was left. It seemed like she was just stalling for time. Miss Yin, let me try. The military advisor felt that Yin Joga was wasting time. What could a group of old, weak women and children achieve by experimenting? There's no rush. I still need to adjust the illusion a little more. Yin Joga calculated the time. The fastest to be ejected were the 4 middle-aged Naga females, followed by the centaur and bull-headed youths. Centaurs and bull-headed youths were famous for their strong endurance. If even they could not endure it, it meant that the illusion's physical requirements were too high. It seemed like she still had to find Ian Shirley to adjust the formation's physical requirements and increase the mental torture. Only then would it be easier to achieve results. At this moment, the military counselor suddenly said to Yun Jioga, who was deep in thought, "Miss Yun, look at Aunt Gaga. Something doesn't seem right." Yun Jioga looked up and saw that all the black fog in the 9 nether Ian reversal formation had gathered on Aunt Gaga. Aunt Gaga remained motionless, but she was not ejected from the illusion. It was really strange. Yun Jioga thought for a moment, then sent out his divine sense into Aunt Gaga's illusion. Inside Aunt Gaga's divine sense, it was a barren wasteland. The river had dried up, the plants were all dead, and the corpses of the Naga tribe were everywhere. They were all skinny, and their faces were full of despair. It seemed like they had starved to death. The entire world was filled with sorrow and despair. It was so oppressive that it made it hard for people to breathe. Yun Jioga looked around for Aunt Gaga and finally found her on the land with a Naga tribe planted Gaga grass. Her thin brown snake tail was coiled on the ground. Her body was hunched, and her arms were folded, as if she was guarding something. Yun Jioga floated over and saw that Aunt Gaga was guarding several white snake eggs in her arms, which were covered with a thin layer of dry fried Gaga grass. Black and white, strong colors clashed, but with an indescribable vitality. Aunt Gaga's old face was so thin that it was out of shape. Her eyes were deep and turbid, but they were looking at the snake eggs with determination, as if she firmly believed that these eggs would survive. Yun Jioga fixed his eyes on the snake eggs and Gaga grass in Aunt Gaga's arms. Suddenly, an idea came to him, and he reached out his hand. The 9 nether Ian reversal formation rotated, and the black fog turned into white fog. The white snake eggs in Aunt Gaga's arms shook, making a small sound of breaking. A little Naga the size of an index finger tried its best to come out of the shell. Its wet little head was covered with a white eggshell, and it looked at Aunt Gaga with its clear yellow eyes. Aunt Gaga's old face showed a kind smile, and her body turned into a golden light and fell to the ground. The grass and trees returned to spring, and the spring water gushed out, and vitality emerged. Yun Jioga's divine sense returned, and he quickly stood up and rushed into the formation. Military counselor also rushed in and asked Yun Jioga nervously what happened. Why did Aunt Gaga fall to the ground as soon as she released the golden light? Yun Jioga did not have time to answer military counselor's question. He took out the Thunderfire needle and quickly inserted it into Aunt Gaga's body, opening up all the golden light that had gathered her tail. The golden light flowed like flowing water, and the grayness in Aunt Gaga's head was instantly dispelled, vanishing into thin air. Aunt Gaga succeeded, didn't she? Military counselor looked at Yun Jioga with enthusiasm. If Aunt Gaga succeeded, then it would be even easier for him. I'm not sure yet. Take Aunt Gaga to the room above to rest, and we'll talk about it when she wakes up. Yun Jioga had vaguely grasped the mystery of awakening the golden light, but there were still some things that he needed to verify. Miss Yun, let me try. I'll definitely succeed. Military counselor was burning with anxiety, and he could not wait to release the golden light immediately. I have my own plans for this. You just need to listen to my commands now. Yun Jioga could understand military counselor's feelings, but he was impatient. If military counselor's golden light also went out of control like Aze, then what was the point? I was too rash. Military counselor didn't want to leave a bad impression of Yun Jioga, so he sent Aunt Gaga away. After military counselor left, Yun Jioga let Little Blossom and Big Ear out and woke them up. Miss Yun, Little Blossom looked at the dim underground. He couldn't tell where he was. He shook his head and asked, "May I ask if my people have migrated over?" "My people?" Big Ear asked with a hoarse voice before opening his eyes. "I've already sent the Eagle Men to receive them. They should arrive in 2 days. I'll let you guys out because I have something to ask you." What were you thinking before you were turned into puppets by the magical stones and your consciousness was sealed? Yoga asked. Thinking about what? Little Blossom smiled bitterly. I was thinking about what would happen to my people if I died. I haven't left the tribe leader's keepsake. What about you? Yoga looked at Big Ear. I just want to go back alive and take them far away from the divine messenger, Big Ear said. As expected, Big Ear and Little Blossom's words confirmed his guess. It was the power of the guardian that awakened them. Miss Yin, did you let us out because you found a way to get rid of the demonic chi? Little Blossom asked hopefully. Chapter 528. Not yet. The demonic energy in your bodies is too deep. It'll take a long time to get rid of it. Yoga felt that the most important thing now was to find a way to awaken the golden light for the Beastmen. It's okay, we can wait. Little Blossom was a little disappointed, but there was hope as long as they were alive. I can't let you out yet. I'll let you see your people when they come back. Just bear with it. Yoga extinguished the golden light on Little Blossom and Big Ear. He put them back into the spirit beast bag and left the dungeon. As soon as she reached the surface, she saw Zishang leaning against the door. He looked at her with a smirk. Didn't you say that you can't experiment until you're sure? Why are you messing around now? Who said I'm messing around? I have evidence. Zhonglai, have you completed your mission? Yoga asked. Of course, all the tribes that the Eagle Men can find are migrating to Cloud City. In Shirley and Fei Fei have to hurry, or else there won't be enough people to live in. Zishang had used many methods to complete his mission quickly. Fortunately, it was very effective. How many tribes did you bring back? Yoga asked in shock. Not many, just 10 tribes. About 2,000 people. If he could use his demon power, he could have brought them over with one heaven and earth shift. They wouldn't have to go through so much trouble to migrate. Nangongyu and Cho-san aren't doing anything? Yoga found it strange. Those two weren't easy to deal with. They probably want to kill us all, so you have to hurry. The Beastmen must awaken as soon as possible. Otherwise, they'll be faced with a disaster. Zishang's expression turned serious. They didn't have much time left. Don't worry, I already know the real way to awaken the Beastmen. Yoga told him about Aunt Gaga. What gives them power isn't pain, but hope. Only Beastmen with a desire to protect can awaken. Then what are you waiting for? If the illusion isn't enough, I can help. Setting up a formation was a piece of cake for Zishang. No, I'm still waiting for a conclusion. Yoga shook his head. Awakening the golden light was no small matter. It couldn't be rushed. What conclusion are you waiting for? Zishang felt that Yoga was being too cautious. There were so many Beastmen, and being able to awaken 1 out of 100 was already a good deal. This conclusion is very important. I can't explain it to you. Come with me. Yoga pulled Zishang's hand and led him to the resting area next to the prison cell. Military counselor and Meng were standing in front of Aunt Gaga's bed. When they saw Yoga and Zishang coming in, they hurried over to welcome them. How's Aunt Gaga? Yoga asked. He hasn't woken up yet. The military counselor shook his head. Yoga opened his spirit eye and looked at Aunt Gaga's knowledge seat. He was surprised to find that her divine sense was calm, as if she had already fulfilled her wish and had nothing to worry about. This was the prelude to death. Meng, hurry up and bring those sick little Nagas over. Yoga hastily instructed. Yes. Meng quickly brought the little snake man over. After the death aura was removed, the little Naga recovered quite well. All of them were white and plump, and their tails were thick and strong. They were much taller than before, and when they saw Yoga, they bowed respectfully. I have a task for you. If anyone can wake Aunt Gaga up, I will reward them with a cherry candy. Yoga poured a cherry pill into his palm. The red pill emitted a sweet aroma, which was very tempting to these little whelps. How should we wake her? The little Naga with black and white tails asked bravely. Whatever method you use, Yoga said. Aunt Gaga's heart was protecting Hope, the children of the Naga tribe. Whether or not they could wake her up depended on these little whelps. 5 little Nagas immediately jumped onto Aunt Gaga's body and shouted. They pulled on her ears and scales, displaying the demeanor of naughty children. What the hell are you doing? Zishang frowned. He thought Yin Joga had something good, but it turned out to be an old Naga. Yin Joga saw the impatience in Zishang's eyes and knew that if he did not explain clearly, Zishang would explode. Come here. Yin Joga brought Zishang to a corner and said in a low voice, I want to know what's the difference between Aunt Gaga's golden light and other orcs. Isn't it fine as long as it's golden light? Zishang raised his eyebrows. Of course not. Have you forgotten Zay and Dummy? Yin Joga glared at Zishang. Zay awakened the golden light and became a lunatic, while Dummy became a fool. Dummy became a fool after traveling through space, Zishang corrected. He wasn't much better before he became a fool, Yin Joga said. According to Yin Joga's understanding, Dummy was not only a troublemaker in the Eagle tribe, but also in other tribes, which meant that his mental condition was unstable. What about the Rabbit tribe? Zishang raised his eyebrows. Although the Rabbit tribe was a little neurotic, it was still normal. They are herbivores. Although they are mentally stable, their bodies are too weak. They can only use the golden light when they turn into rabbits. Their attack power is too low. Seeing Zishang's disapproving look, Yin Joga changed the topic. Are you willing to lead the Rabbit tribe to attack Grey Castle? No, I'm not. Zishang imagined himself leading a group of big white rabbits. He got goosebumps, but he didn't give up. Don't we still have Demeng and Maya? They're not bad. Demeng and Maya are strong, so they're mentally unstable. Demeng is too impulsive. He won't fight for no reason. Maya is too calm. It doesn't matter if she doesn't speak for 3 days. In Yin Joga's eyes, they were abnormal. As long as they can fight, what does it matter if they're normal or not? Zishang frowned. He had ways to teach them a lesson. It's fine if there's no other choice, but I already know how to make them awaken the golden light normally. Of course, I have to choose the right one, Yin Joga said grumpily. According to her observations and experiments, normal orcs were mentally unstable because the golden light was awakened in their brains. However, Little Flower, Big Ear, and Aunt Gaga were awakened in their hearts, ears, and tails. The only thing they had in common was that they were both corrupted by demonic aura. Therefore, Yin Joga wanted to wait for Aunt Gaga to wake up. She wanted to know if the golden light would be stronger and more stable after being corrupted by demonic aura. If that was true, then the orc's evolution direction would be clearer. Since you already have a way, do it quickly. Zishang frowned even more. Yin Joga thought too much of the orcs. It was a waste of time to think about it. If it were him, he would do it as soon as he thought of a way. If he failed, he could just start all over again. Chapter 529. I really can't talk to you. Yin Joga raised her eyebrows angrily. Just as she was about to lose her temper, Meng walked out of the house with a joyful expression and said, Miss Yin, Aunt Gaga is awake. Yin Joga glared at Zishang and followed Meng in. The 5 little Nagas had tears on their chubby faces and were sobbing. Auntie, I thought you were dead. Hey, good kids, don't cry. Aunt Gaga hugged the 5 little Nagas and coaxed them. Aunt Gaga is going to plant Gaga grass for you now. I'll plant a lot of it so that you can eat as much as you want. Aunt Gaga, we don't eat Gaga grass anymore. We eat grass rice and grass potatoes now. The little Naga wiped her tears and took out a round potato from the animal skin bag she carried on her back. She handed it to Aunt Gaga and said, This is for you. Me too, me too. The other little Nagas also offered their treasures. Auntie is not hungry. Eat it yourselves. Aunt Gaga's eyes were kind. She had never laid a living egg in her life and treated the little ones in her tribe as her own. It was good enough that the children remembered her. How could they bear to eat their precious food? Auntie, we're all full. The little Nagas patted their bulging bellies. The Naga tribe was the first to plant grass and eat a lot. They had a lot of food, so they ate their fill every day. Auntie, things are different now. I'll bring you out later, and you'll understand. Meng laughed. Is that so? Aunt Gaga's memory was still stuck in the past. Back then, The Naga tribe had to risk their lives just to get a bite of food. Of course, it's true. All of this is thanks to the great Lady Yun and Lord Yizi. They brought hope to our Beastmen tribe. Meng bowed respectfully to Yun Jioga and Zishang as he spoke. Aunt Gaga then realized that there were two people standing in the house. Their appearance and temperament were completely different from the Beastmen. Although she did not know what had happened, they must be great people since the tribe leader respected them so much. Aunt Gaga got down from the bed and bowed to Yun Jioga and Zishang like the tribe leader. Meng, you're in charge of testing her abilities. Zishang walked in with a cold expression. Sir, may I know how to test this? He was just an ordinary orc. How would he know how to test Aunt Gaga's golden light? Take her to the plantation for a walk. Yun Jioga recalled Aunt Gaga's appearance when she awakened the golden light and felt that she must have awakened this ability. Yes. Meng immediately led Aunt Gaga, who was still confused, to the farm. The 5 little Nagas followed behind them excitedly. The military counselor walked to Yun Jioga's side and hesitated to speak, but Zishang interrupted him. Talk less. Get to work. After saying that, he pulled Yun Jioga out, not giving the military counselor a chance to speak. A group of people arrived at the plantation. Aunt Gaga stared at the majestic city wall in front of her and ate the golden grass. She was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. The 5 little snake people surrounded her and excitedly explained all the changes, chattering happily. Apart from the territories of the eagle men, Nagas, centaurs, cowmen, and rabbit men, there were 12 other territories that were empty. Auntie, these territories are for other orcs. Winter is coming soon, and we have to plant enough food to save more orcs. I'll leave this task to you, Yun Jioga said to Aunt Gaga as he took out a big bag of grass and rice. How do I plant this? Aunt Gaga was a little flustered. She had only planted Gaga grass in her life and had never planted anything else. Just plant it like you plant Gaga grass. Yun Jioga randomly picked an empty space and looked at Aunt Gaga encouragingly. Go ahead, I'll give it a try. Aunt Gaga carefully took the seeds of the grass. They were yellow rice grains, and there were thousands of them. She felt a sense of mission when she thought about the grass that would save the orcs. The yellowish-brown snake tail emitted a faint golden light and seeped into the ground. As she moved, she scattered the seeds on the ground. The yellowish-brown rice grains took root and sprouted as soon as they touched the ground. The yellow grass followed her footsteps. Aunt Gaga had a satisfied smile on her face as she walked to the side of the wide, empty space. The brown, empty space was soon covered by the yellow grass. So many big grass. The little snake people followed Aunt Gaga happily and began to scream and play. Oh my God! Meng looked at Aunt Gaga in disbelief. When Aunt Gaga had awakened, he was only happy that Yun Jioga had saved her. Now that Aunt Gaga had performed such a miracle in front of him, it was undoubtedly due to Yun Jioga's efforts. He turned to look at Yun Jioga and wanted to kneel down and worship her. Unfortunately, Yun Jioga did not have time to care about him. She was busy using her spiritual eye to observe Aunt Gaga's movements. How is it? Is this normal? Zishang took the initiative to talk. I was right. Aunt Gaga's sea of consciousness is calm and full of joy. The golden light mainly moves around the snake's tail. It rarely returns to the sea of consciousness. Yun Jioga closed her spiritual eye in satisfaction. She did not mind the argument with Zishang. I thought the demonic energy would be a disaster for these beastmen. I didn't expect it to be the beginning of a transformation. I wonder if Nangongyu and Chosun know about this? Zishang pondered. If they knew, they wouldn't have locked them up to drink blood. Yun Jioga said with certainty. With Chosun's personality, if he knew that beastmen could automatically awaken the golden light, he would definitely keep them in captivity and slowly slaughter them. It seems like we have taken the initiative. After being in the secret territory for so long, Zishang finally felt a sense of achievement. You still dare to complain that I am too long-winded? Yun Jioga glared at Zishang. This impatient guy only wanted to reach the heavens in a single step. If they did as he said, they would only get a bunch of crazy people. Goddess is wise. Zishang tactfully admitted his mistake. Stop flattering me. Hurry up and help me set up an illusion array. Yunjioga rubbed her palms together. She was ready to go all out. Zishang cooperated with Yunjioga and set up the dungeon again. They set up 2 more 9-hell reversal arrays. That way, they could put in a large number of beastmen for experiments. Actually, it would be safer to make a few more examples. Yunjioga said regretfully. Although Aunt Gaga had succeeded, it was better to make a few more out of caution. The process of awakening the golden light after being infected by the demonic energy had a certain degree of risk. If the serpent men did not have Aunt Gaga's firm belief, they could easily be devoured. There is no time. The most they will do is turn them stupid. If they cannot awaken, they will die. This batch of beastmen will finish migrating in half a month. I'm afraid Cho-sun cannot wait that long. Zishang mercilessly shattered Yunjioga's fantasy. Chapter 530. You've done well. Let the orcs work hard for the rest. Zishang pulled Yunjioga into his arms and kissed her forehead gently. Okay. Yunjioga smelled the faint fragrance on Zishang's body. Her depressed mood was instantly lifted. She immediately returned to the treatment room and workroom that Ian Shirley had helped her build in the back mountain. He picked up his brush and quickly drew up a plan for the orcs' awakening. Then, he called the military counselor over. I thought you would awaken the guards first. The military counselor was surprised to see Yunjioga's awakening plan. After all, the guards were powerful warriors, so they had a higher chance of awakening. No, according to the experience of the rabbit tribe, as long as one of the golden orcs awakens, the others will awaken safely as long as they guide them properly. Therefore, Yunjioga's awakening plan was not based on the number of people, but the races. The first was the Naga. Aunt Gaga was a strong-willed guide. With her around, the Naga would definitely awaken smoothly. Miss Yun, which race will the Naga join after the awakening? The military counselor asked carefully. The Eagle Men, of course. Yunjioga did not seem to notice the military counselor's thoughts. The Eagle Men and the Naga were the first tribes to rely on her. They often competed with each other. Yunjioga thought it was good since there was competition. Thank you, Miss Yun. The Eagle Men won't let you down. The military counselor heaved a sigh of relief and prepared everything for Yunjioga. If the Naga could awaken successfully, the Eagle Men would learn from them. Yunjioga's plan was to let the Naga drink the water of magical stone first. After the demonic energy invaded them, they would enter the illusion under Aunt Gaga's guidance to defeat themselves. After learning about the plan, they were so excited that they could not sleep for a few days. They instructed the entire tribe to cherish this rare opportunity and strive to awaken and surpass the Eagle Men. Of course, this slogan was only used internally. They did not dare to leak it in front of the Eagle Men. On the day of the plan, all the Naga gathered at the back mountain and lined up, waiting for Aunt Gaga to distribute the water of magical stone. The 5 little Nagas also came to join in the fun. They followed Aunt Gaga and busied themselves around like little helpers. Are these kids going to the dungeon with the adults? The military counselor looked at the happy little Naga worriedly. Speaking of which, these little Nagas and their Eagle Men were the first to be infected by the demonic aura. Yunjioga shook his head. We don't need them for now. We'll talk about it later. The little Eagle Man and the little Naga had only removed the death chi from their bodies. There was still some demonic chi left in their bodies. If they wanted to completely awaken, they could only rely on the golden light. But they were too young, so they might not be able to withstand the torment of the illusion. After drinking the demonic chi water, the Naga tribe entered the dungeon valiantly under Aunt Gaga's lead. The awakening experiment was undoubtedly a success. All the Nagas had awakened golden light, but the intensity of the light was different. The abilities they displayed were also different. Similar to Aunt Gaga, the female Nagas displayed the ability to plant plants. The male Naga, on the other hand, was just like Meng, displaying extremely powerful attacks. This was especially true for Meng, whose fangs and tail had awakened a golden light. His speed and strength had increased, and he could smash a boulder as tall as a small mountain with a swing of his tail. However, what surprised Yunjoga the most was that there were a few skinny female Naga beastmen who had awakened special abilities. It was a very small green snake species. They were extremely fast after transforming into their original form, and their venom was very strong. They were experts at assassination. These awakened Nagas were taken away by Zishang. The females were taken to farm, while the males were sent to guard the small mountain in the city. Next, Yunjoga began the awakening of the Eagle Men. She released Ash, who had been kept away all this while. The demonic aura on Ahui was a bit heavy. Yunjoga was worried that he wouldn't be able to awaken, so she asked the military counselor to bring Ashue over and let him stay with his father and talk more. She hoped that the power of kinship could help him get through the secret realm. After making arrangements for Ahui, Yunjoga called Aze to her newly built treatment room in the back mountain. "Miss Yun," Aze lowered his head, not daring to look at Yunjoga. "I heard you've recovered a long time ago. Why didn't you come find me?" Yunjoga asked Aze while carving runes on spirit stones. "I don't have the face to see you." Aze was afraid that he would be seen as a crazy bird if he walked out, so he had been hiding in his nest. "It wasn't your fault for going crazy last time. I've already found a solution for you." Yunjoga put down the spirit stones and looked at Aze. "Do you trust me?" "Of course I trust you." Aze immediately looked up. He almost swore to the heavens. "If you trust me, then lie on the stone bed over there. I'll extract the golden light from your brain later." The process is very simple, but you might lose a part of your memory. Only by removing the golden light from Aze's brain and making him awaken again would he not lose control and become crazy. "I won't become an idiot, will I?" Aze's face paled at the thought of the prince's stupidity. "That won't happen. At most, you'll forget the past." Aze had always been brooding over his brother's death. What Yunjoga needed to do was to remove this part of his memory. "Okay, then do it." Aze immediately laid down on the stone bed. "Relax and breathe. You'll be fine soon." Yunjoga's voice was soft. While Aze was relaxing, she stabbed the lightning fire needle into his sleep acupuncture point. Aze's head tilted and he fell asleep. Yunjoga used her divine power to ignite the golden light in his brain. Then, she carefully extracted it and put it into a bottle of spirit condensation. "Why are you keeping his golden light?" Zishang's voice suddenly sounded. Yunjoga almost knocked the bottle over. "Can't you knock when you come in?" What if she made a sound when she extracted the golden light, and Aze became an idiot? "Who knew you were so cowardly?" Zishang walked over to Yunjoga and looked at the bottle in her hand. "You haven't answered my question. I plan to put Aze's golden light into Little Blossom and Big Ear's bodies to see if it can save them," Yunjoga said. "It was like a blood transfusion. The golden light that Little Blossom and Big Ear awakened wasn't enough to expel the demonic chi. Then, she would put in some golden light to see if it could strengthen them. Aren't you afraid they'll suck Aze's golden light and become crazy?" Zishang raised his eyebrows. "The golden light itself is good. It's just that Aze's brain can't control it. Plus, Little Blossom and Big Ear didn't awaken in the brain. They'll be fine." Yunjoga lowered her head and engraved Aze's golden light on the bottle. "You really know how to make trouble." Zishang shook his head. Those poison beast men were already abandoned in his heart. Only Yunjoga would think of a way to save them. Chapter 531. What do you know? Every time I mess with the golden light, I learn more about it. It's very useful for finding the origin of the golden light. Yunjoga didn't forget that she studied the orc's golden light to find the origin and strengthen her divine power. "You're worth teaching." Zishang patted Yunjoga's head. "Why aren't you busy with building the city? Why are you here?" Yunjoga slapped Zishang's hand away. She wasn't a child. Why was he patting her head? If she was still a goddess in the divine palace, Zishang's behavior was enough to be considered disrespectful. "I went to the Death Swamp yesterday. Gray Castle is moving. I suspect Cho-san will attack us in advance." Zishang's face turned serious. Are you sure you can defend Yun City? Yun Jioga frowned. The city was filled with ordinary orcs. She could only rely on Zishang and Ian Shirley to defend. Just based on Ian Shirley and me, we can't defend it forever. You have to hurry up. Zishang was here to urge her. I was planning to awaken the Eagle people tomorrow. Now that you mention it, we have to start tonight. Yun Jioga sighed. She didn't like the feeling of being rushed at all. Doing research required slow work in order to produce fine results. Okay, I'll inform the advisor now. Zishang kissed Yun Jioga comfortingly. Go! Yun Jioga waved Zishang away and woke Zay up with a needle. Zay got up in a daze and asked Yun Jioga, Miss Yun, why am I lying here? How many is this? Yun Jioga waved 3 fingers in front of Zay. This is 3. Zay answered honestly. Go find the advisor. He'll tell you why you're here. Yun Jioga's every cell was screaming for her to be busy. She really didn't have time to explain too much to Zay. Oh, Zay scratched his head and walked out in a daze. The advisor soon brought the Eagle people over. He asked Yun Jioga excitedly and nervously, Miss Yun, Master Yizi said we're going to awaken tonight. Is it true? That's right. Take this magic stone and soak it in water. Everyone drink a bowl of it and then go to the dungeon. Yun Jioga threw a gray magic stone to the military counselor and took out a booklet to write a plan. After the Eagle men awakened, it was the Bulls and Centaurs' turn. Currently, none of these 2 races had awakened the Golden Light, so they couldn't follow the same steps as the Nagas and Eagle men. They had to first test and choose the Beast men with the strongest protectiveness of their tribe, and then use that to awaken the other tribesmen. The military counselor took the magic stone and looked at Yun Jioga hesitantly. In the end, he couldn't help but ask, Miss Yun, can my grandfather awaken with us? If Grandpa could also awaken the Golden Light, he might be able to live longer. No. Yun Jioga put down the plan in his hands and looked up at the military counselor. He said seriously, awakening the Golden Light consumes a lot of energy and mental strength. Elder Bai, who is about to die of old age, entering it is tantamount to suicide. I understand. I'm sorry to disturb you. I'll go and prepare now. Although the military counselor was sad, he forced himself to smile and left with the magic stone. Yun Jioga was really worried when he saw the military counselor like this, so he took the plan to the small dark room in the dungeon and personally watched over them. The Eagle men were all excited when they saw Yun Jioga personally coming. The Eagle men were divided into 2 groups and entered the dungeon illusion. The first group was led by Zay, which included Hui, Gu, and other Eagle men with normal physiques. When the illusion started, Hui was the first to awaken. The golden light spread from his wings and expelled all the demonic energy in his body. Yun Jioga couldn't help but nod after seeing this. The company of family could indeed strengthen the protectiveness of the tribe. Zay was the second to awaken. His wings were shining with golden light and looked extremely powerful. Gu was next. This kid was probably ready to become a father. His protectiveness was very strong. Other than his wings, his abdomen was also awakened with golden light. The other Eagle men also awakened one after another. All of their wings were glowing. The stronger Eagleman's wings were brighter, while the weaker ones were dimmer. However, it was the best outcome for all of them to awaken. The awakened Eagle men were automatically ejected from the illusion. The military counselor and Fei guarded outside and pulled them to the resting room next to the dungeon. Soon, the first group of Eagle men all left the illusion. The military counselor, Fei, Ping, and the other young and strong Eagle men were the second group. This group of strong Eagle men awakened even faster. The golden light on their wings was also very dense. They would definitely be very strong after transforming. The military counselor's awakening was also very smooth. First his wings, then his chest. The light was even more intense than Agu's. However, this was very normal. The military counselor had always been in charge of the tribe with Elder Bai. His protectiveness was the strongest, so he naturally awakened the most. Yunjioga was just about to close the illusion when she saw the military counselor's face suddenly turn pale. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Then a golden light burst out from his head, and he was ejected from the illusion. It happened too suddenly. Yunjioga didn't even see how the military counselor flew out. She quickly left the dungeon and saw a group of eaglemen surrounding the military counselor at the foot of the mountain. "Military counselor, are you okay?" Aze patted the military counselor's face nervously, almost causing it to swell. "Miss Yun is here. Everyone move away." Agu saw Yunjioga coming over and quickly let her come closer. "Miss Yun, what happened to the military counselor? Why did he spit blood?" Aze's face was full of panic. The military counselor was recognized as an elite in the tribe. The awakening should have been very smooth. Why did he spit blood instead? He has awakened too many parts. He's too strong, so he spat blood. Don't worry. Yunjioga comforted the eagleman while using her spirit eye to check on the military counselor. The golden light on the military counselor's wings and chest were very stable. The color was bright yellow, but there was a thumb-sized golden ball spinning in his head. This ball of golden light was not as dense and pure as Dummy's, nor was it as violent as Aze's. It was something Yunjioga had never seen before. What happened? Zishang had just finished building the city. As soon as he came over, he saw Yunjioga frowning in puzzlement. There's a small problem with the awakening of the military counselor. Yunjioga told him what happened and said in annoyance, "I wonder what's with the golden light in his head." "Don't worry. You'll know when he wakes up." Zishang looked up at the surrounding eaglemen and asked, "All awakened?" "Master Yi Zi, all the eaglemen have successfully awakened." All the eaglemen stood in front of Zishang with their chests puffed out. "Then follow me." Zishang took all the eaglemen away with one sentence, leaving only the military counselor lying on the ground. Yunjioga had no choice but to let the Meng send the military counselor to Elder Bai and inform her when he woke up. After Demeng carried the military counselor away, Yunjioga continued with the awakening plan. Not long later, Zishang returned alone. Chapter 532. Where are Agu and the others? Yunjioga glanced at the sky. Not a single eagleman had appeared. I sent them to patrol. These eaglemen are not bad. Zishang had just tested it. After awakening the golden light, not only could the eaglemen successfully transform into beast form, but their speed and strength had also greatly increased. At the same time, Argus, who had awakened 2 body parts, could also spit out wind blades. He organized the eaglemen into an air force. Some of them were responsible for patrolling the airspace of Cloud City, and some of them left Cloud City to check on the situation of the migrating orcs and help them reach Cloud City as soon as possible. I plan to have the rabbit men patrol the inner city. What do you think? Yunjioga asked. Currently, the eagle men were responsible for defending the outside, while the serpent men were defending the small mountain. The inner city was a little empty. The rabbit men are very disciplined. They are very suitable to be patrol soldiers. Zishang nodded. No matter what, the rabbit men were still golden light beast men. It would be a waste for them to stay in their territory and plant crops every day. I'm also going to set up a farming team with Aunt Gaga as the leader. They'll be responsible for helping the orcs grow food. Yunjioga added a farming team to the list and then wrote down a healing team. However, it was still empty at the moment, and he would have to wait and see when the orcs could awaken this ability. These are all small problems. What I'm more curious about now is what happened to the military counselor's brain. Zishang stroked his chin. Military counselor was usually very good at thinking. Now that his head had awakened with golden light, he had a feeling that he would bring surprises. I'm curious too, but we should have an answer tomorrow. Yunjioga scribbled and wrote down the construction team, logistics team, guard team, and other projects on the schedule. All right, stop writing. Zishang took the booklet from Yunjioga's hand and said forcefully, "It's already late at night. You should sleep." "I haven't finished writing yet." Yunjioga's head is full of plans, and he wants to write them out quickly. "Sleep." Zishang carried Yunjioga in his arms and threw him onto the bed before pinning him down. Didn't you say that time is tight and the mission is heavy? Why are you still in the mood to think about this? Yun Jioga glared at Zishang, wanting to kick him off the bed. I just want to sleep. Is your thoughts too evil, or do you want it? Zishang placed his hand on Yun Jioga's stomach. No. Yun Jioga's expression was cold. Only when one was full and warm would one think of lust. She really was in the mood right now. Then let's go to sleep. We still have work to do tomorrow. Zishang's voice was gentle as his warm hands gently rubbed Yun Jioga's abdomen, spreading warmth throughout her entire body. Yun Jioga slowly closed his eyes and soon fell asleep. After seeing that Yun Jioga had fallen asleep, Zishang picked up the schedule and continued to fill in the blanks. When Yun Jioga woke up, Zishang was no longer in the room. There was a yellow booklet on the wooden table, and the plan inside was already filled in. It was even more complete than what she had imagined before. Yun Jioga flipped through it and was very satisfied. He took the schedule and went out. Just as he was about to call Elder Bai and Meng over for a discussion, he heard that the military advisor had woken up. Military counselor's brain had awakened another type of power, the spirit element. Not only did he have an eidetic memory, but he could also sense other people's emotional fluctuations and even control weak-willed people. That's a pretty good ability. There's a position that suits you the best right now. After Zishang heard about the military advisor's awakened ability, he immediately arranged for him to receive the migrating orcs into the city. Now, many orcs were migrating to Cloud City every day. Apart from the tribes that the Eagle Men had found themselves, there were also many tribes that came alone after hearing the news. These orc tribes that migrated alone without any food support were very miserable and pitiful. Their faces were sallow and they were skinny. The old, weak women and children fell sick as soon as they entered Cloud City. Military counselor was almost going crazy. He led the centaurs in charge of registering them, arranging territories and food, and also arranging other places for those who fell sick. Those who were simply sick lived in the plantation, and those who were infected by the demonic energy were arranged to stay in the prison at the back of the mountain. They were also divided according to the degree of infection. Now, the large prison at the back of the mountain was occupied by the gnolls, and the middle prison was occupied by orcs who were infected by the demonic energy but had no way to awaken. These orcs had to wait for Yun Jioga to finish her work before they had time to find a solution. Zishang was also very busy. He grabbed Ian Shirley to do construction every day. Cloud City was changing every day. Cannons rose one after another on the city walls, and a solemn atmosphere filled the entire Cloud City. Even the most naive children knew that war was coming. They no longer ran around and played. Every day, they followed the adults of their tribes and prepared to fight for food. The plan to awaken orcs had been carried out according to plan. Currently, it was arranged according to the order of entering the city. The centaurs and bull people had successfully awakened. The golden light was awakened in the legs and horns respectively. They were all classified as combat troops by Zishang. According to Yun Jioga's plan, they should go to the wild boar tribe next. At this time, Aze brought a fox youth to see her. Lady Yun, this is Ah Sang. He said he has something to report to you. Aze said. This youth was very beautiful. His skin was white, and his facial features were exquisite. His eyes were arched upwards, and he dragged a big, fluffy brown tail behind him. As soon as he saw Yun Jioga come out, he got up and placed his right hand on his chest. He bowed respectfully. Honorable Lady Yun, thank you for providing food and a place for my people. I will forever be loyal to you on behalf of the Fox tribe. I accept the friendship of the Fox tribe. Yun Jioga nodded with a reserved and noble smile. After sitting down, she asked Ah Sang, may I know why you're looking for me? I heard that Lady Yun is forming a medical team. The Golden Light Orcs of our Fox tribe just happen to have special medical abilities, Ah Sang said proudly. Your Fox tribe knows how to heal. Yun Jioga was shocked. She thought the Fox tribe would be better at illusions. Yes, our Fox tribe is proficient in all herbs in the secret realm. We've developed countless medicines that are very effective against all sorts of illnesses of the orcs, Ah Sang said passionately. Wait. Yunjuga stopped Ah Sang and asked in confusion. After the black rain, most of the plants died. What else is there other than the big jade grass that could stop bleeding? That's right. After the black rain, only the big jade grass is left. Our fox tribe has more than 10 prescriptions for it, Ah Sang said. These prescriptions should only have the ability to stop bleeding, right? Yunjuga felt that Ah Sang was tricking her. Yes. Ah Sang's expression didn't change even after being exposed by Yunjuga. She continued, actually, the healing abilities of the orcs are very strong. The ones that really can't heal are the mental injuries. Our fox tribe's golden light ability has a special effect on this. It can alleviate all their illnesses and achieve rapid healing. Chapter 533. At the end of the day, your fox clan is actually best at creating illusions. Yunjoga saw that Ah Sang still wanted to explain, so he stopped him. Actually, I need your ability now. You don't have to go to the medical team. Tell me, how many golden beastmen have awakened in your fox clan? I'm the only one right now. Ah Sang finally looked a little nervous. During his time in Cloud City, he had already found out that this legendary Lady Yun had the ability to awaken the entire tribe with golden light. According to the order in which they entered the city, there were still a few tribes before the Fox clan. Seeing that the war was coming, he was afraid that his clansmen wouldn't be able to wait for the arrangements and would run over to recommend themselves. Show me your ability, Yin Joga said casually. Yes. Ah Sang stood up, his eyes flashing with determination. The tribe's development depended on this, so he couldn't make any mistakes. Ah Sang exhaled softly, then closed his eyes and waved his hands gently. Rays of golden light spread out, and the entire room rippled like water. Yun Joga blinked and found himself standing in the middle of a vast wilderness. Above him was the dark sky, and beneath his feet was the dry and cracked brown ground. The wind that blew against his face carried a bitter and fishy smell. It felt very real. Not far away, there was a skinny cicadere looking for food in the withered grass. When it noticed Yun Joga's gaze, it immediately fled in panic. However, it didn't run for long before it fell to the ground and died. Although Yun Joga knew that everything in front of him was an illusion, he still felt very sad. This was the true portrayal of an arcane realm, despair and death. This little fox's ability isn't bad. I want her. Zishang's voice suddenly sounded in Yun Joga's ears. The water ripples faded, and everything returned to normal. Ah Sang stood in the middle of the hall, his fair forehead covered in cold sweat. He looked at Zishang, who had suddenly appeared, in awe and fear. He had heard that Lady Yun had a very powerful naga with her, but he thought it was a reckless martial artist. He didn't expect it to be so powerful that it could break through his illusion with just one sentence. Ah Sang's originally somewhat smug mood immediately vanished. It's not good to cut in line. Yun Jioga shook his head. She didn't mind opening a back door. After all, this was an ability that she desperately needed. But illusions and whatnot. With the illusory realm created by the Foxmen, not only will it increase the speed of the Orc's awakening, but it will also increase the defensive ability of Cloud City. It's killing two birds with one stone. Zishang revealed a determined look. All right. Yin Jioga was defeated by his gaze. He turned to Ah Sang and said, Go back and let your people rest. Tomorrow, Aze will take you to the back mountain to prepare for the awakening. Yes, thank you, Miss Yin. Thank you, Lord Yi Zi. Ah Sang was overjoyed. He hammered his chest and left. You're in urgent need of healing beasts. You should ask the military advisor to help you filter them out, Zishang said. I've already told him to keep an eye on them, but they're all boars, bear men, and ape men. Yun Jioga went through the orc tribes that had recently sought refuge with them. Then, he noticed a big problem. Why aren't there any leopard men or lizard men? When she returned from Grey Castle that day, she immediately asked the eagle men to bring Little Blossom and Big Ears tokens to the leopard men and lizard men. Logically speaking, they should have reached Cloud City. Ask the military advisor. Zishang asked Aze to inform the military advisor to come over immediately. The military advisor soon arrived. After hearing Yunjoga's question, he replied, Ah Fei and Ah Ping left 5 days ago. The tokens have been successfully sent to the leopard men and lizard men. They also drew a map and left food. The leopard men and lizard men should be able to reach Cloud City smoothly. Something must have happened if they haven't arrived yet. Immediately send 2 eagle men to find them. You must bring them to Cloud City safely. Yunjoga ordered seriously. She had already done a test. Little Blossom could indeed absorb Ah Zay's golden light, but the amount was too little to dispel the demonic aura. She originally wanted to wait for the leopard men and lizard men to awaken their golden light so that they could donate it to save Little Blossom and Big Ear. Yes, I will immediately send Ah Fei and Ah Ping to find them. I will give you an answer tonight. The military advisor immediately recorded everything on a small notebook that he carried with him. He had been so busy recently that even his eidetic memory could not cope with it. In the end, it was Yunjoga who gave him a pile of blank notebooks and told him to write everything down with a pen. Otherwise, it was very likely that he would collapse from overworking his brain. Go. By the way, move the awakening of the boar people to tomorrow afternoon. I will first awaken the foxmen tomorrow morning, Yunjoga ordered. The foxmen's awakening should be ranked 15th. What's so special about them that you can help them awaken in advance? The military advisor asked while recording. Yizi said that the foxman's ability to create illusions is very useful to him. It can also increase the speed at which the orcs awaken, so he gave them priority. Yunjoga explained briefly and continued. Ask the Golden Light Orcs that have recently joined Yin City what abilities they have. If they have healing abilities, they will be given priority. I got it, but the Golden Light Beastmen that joined recently are very well hidden. None of them are willing to expose their identities. They should change their minds after the Foxman tribe's matter spreads. The military advisor wrote at a rapid speed and added a few more details. Then spread the news about the Foxmen more. Yunjoga could actually understand why these Golden Light Orcs hid their identity. They were afraid of being chosen as cannon fodder and even more afraid of being captured for research. Under such circumstances, Ah Sang was very bold and confident to take the initiative to promote himself. Understand. I will immediately get Andi Gaga to be in charge of spreading the news. After the military advisor finished writing, he asked, Do you have any other orders? I don't. What about you? Yunjoga looked at Zishang. I will handle the leopard men and lizard men myself. Tell Ah Fei and Ah Ping to find me later, Zishang said. You want to do it yourself? Yunjoga was surprised. The construction of Cloud City was in a hurry. Zishang did not even have enough time to sleep every day. How could he be in a mood to care about these things? I suspect that they have been kidnapped by Grey Castle. Zishang did not care about the leopard men and lizard men. He only cared about the upcoming war. During this time, he asked Ash and 4 Eagle men to take turns to monitor Grey Castle. He did not know whether the Eagle men did not have good eyesight or Grey Castle was too well hidden. All the information he received was that Grey Castle was as quiet as a dead city. Ash even wanted to sneak in to observe, but he was chased by magic stone arrows as soon as he flew into Grey Castle's territory. He almost lost his life. Under such circumstances, the disappearance of the leopard men and lizard men was a rare clue. Chapter 534. Do you mean that Grey Castle has another secret passage to leave the Death Swamp? Yunjoga asked seriously. Yes. Zishang nodded. That was why he wanted to see it for himself. I'll go with you. Whether Cloud City could successfully take root in the secret realm depended on the battle with Grey Castle. She had to go. What about the awakening plan? Zishang did not want to take Yunjoga. She couldn't allow those beastmen to take risks. It would be too restrictive. The awakening plan is on track. It's okay without me. She was not present when Centaur and Cowboy were awakened. Besides, don't you have the military counselor? Yunjoga looked at the military counselor with a smile. Yes. The military counselor made another note in the booklet to supervise the awakening plan. Don't be too nervous. If anything happens, leave it to me. Seeing the military counselor frowning, Yoga sympathized with him. But the more capable people did the more work. This kind of pressure was very important for his spiritual advancement. Don't worry. I'll arrange it. If there's nothing else, I'll go. The military counselor put away the booklet and flapped his wings to leave the room. His figure shuttled back and forth like lightning to deliver the task. You really want to go? Zishang did not give up and pulled Yoga. I'm enough. Isn't it better for you to stay here and guard Cloud City? Why are you so nervous? Yoga looked Zishang up and down and asked suspiciously, Are you hiding something from me? What shameful things can I hide from you? Zishang was speechless. He was going to investigate the situation in Grey Castle, not to have an affair. What was there to hide? Then why are you nervous? Yoga rolled her eyes at Zishang and began to think about what to prepare. Zishang sighed helplessly and said in a negotiating tone, Well, you can come with me. But wait until the Foxmen awaken tomorrow. Their ability will be very useful. The divine senses of those puppet orcs have been controlled by Cho Senator. The Foxman's illusion could destroy this control. Okay, how about I awaken another gnoll? Yoga thought that jackals had a keen sense of smell and were best at tracking and investigating. With them around, it would be easier for them to find clues about Grey Castle. The gnolls' heads and necks are blocked. It's too difficult to expel the demonic chi. Zishang frowned. He didn't have much time to wait. I only need to awaken one to lead the way. Yoga had gained a lot from his research on the golden light. His biggest success was extracting the golden light from the blood samples of the orcs. As long as he buried it in the body of an ordinary orc, it would be safe for them to awaken. Get a try then. Zishang knew that Yoga loved to do research. As long as it did not affect the construction of Yunqing, he would not stop it. Help me pick one. Yoga brought Zishang to the dungeon where the gnolls were imprisoned. This place was guarded by the Oxmen. Although the gnolls had been controlled by the demonic chi, their bodies still had the instinct to eat. As long as the Oxmen fed them on time and cleaned the cells regularly, they would be fine. This one, Zishang had his eyes on the gnoll leader. You really know how to stir up trouble for me. Yoga sighed. The gnoll leader was the most demonic and the most difficult to expel. You were the one who asked me to pick one. Zishang shrugged. Rather than wasting time on a piece of trash, why don't we use a little more effort to awaken a capable one? Then I'll pick him. Yoga felt that Zishang's words made sense. He carried the gnoll leader out of the dungeon. Immediately, a strange smell wafted out. The Oxmen only cleaned the dungeon, not the gnoll leader. After vomiting for so many days, it was only natural that he would stink. Clean him up and bring him to the infirmary. Zishang ordered the Oxmen in charge of the dungeon. Yes, the tall and strong Oxman nodded solemnly. Together with the other gnolls on duty, they carefully scrubbed the gnoll leader and brought him to Yoga. After being cleaned up, the gnoll leader was quite handsome. His features were cold and deep. Coupled with his dusky eyes, he exuded an extremely sinister aura. Yoga took out the golden light blood seed that he had made. The bean-sized golden light blood seed glowed red. There seemed to be blood flowing faintly in it, and it exuded an extremely strong life force. If you bring this thing out, people will probably fight over it. Zishang took it and sniffed it. He found that it contained the light of life. If a mortal consumed it, it would increase their lifespan by 10 years. Of course, don't you know who made it? But in the end, the blood of these orcs is still the best. Although they can't cultivate, their life force is extremely strong. It's a great supplement for bloodthirsty, demonic cultivators, Yoga said. These beast men should be thankful that the one they encountered is you. If it were any other cultivator, they would have been concocted into blood pills long ago. Truth be told, even Zishang felt tempted by the thick and pure scent of blood. Other cultivators can't use their spiritual power here. They will only be torn to pieces by the orcs. If it weren't for the fact that she could use her divine power, she would have ended up in a miserable state. Nangongyu isn't torn to pieces. Also, I don't know what's going on with the Golden Core cultivators who came in through other means, Zishang said while squinting. Maybe they went to a different arcane realm than us. Or maybe they're secretly plotting something. Yun Joga often thought about this question, but he could not think of a reason no matter how hard he thought about it. That's why we have to become stronger before they start their plot, Zishang said. Why do I feel like we're in danger every time you analyze the current situation? Why do I feel like time is tight? Yun Joga looked suspicious. Zishang must be doing this on purpose. You're right. Hurry up and wake this knoll up. We'll leave as soon as possible. Zishang patted Yun Joga's shoulder to show his encouragement. If it weren't for you, I would have called it a long time ago. Yun Joga grabbed the golden light blood seed and hit the knoll's left arm. The knoll looked like he was in pain. A faint red golden light spread from his arm to his heart. It began to fight the demonic chi. We can't go on like this. Yun Joga looked at the retreating golden light on the knoll's body and turned to Zishang. We have to get him into the dungeon to activate the illusion. It's too much to activate the Jiu Yin illusion for him alone. Get Aze to get that foxman called Ah-Sang to try. Zishang shook his head. They had brought limited spirit stones. They had to use them when it mattered. Okay, let him try. Yun Joga called Aze in and asked him to get Ah-Sang as soon as possible. Chapter 535. Aze came to the Foxman tribe's territory like lightning and brought Ah-Sang over. Ah-Sang didn't look too nervous. It was as if today's accident was within his expectations. There was no such thing as a free lunch. He knew the test wouldn't be this easy. However, when he walked into the treatment room and saw the knoll standing inside, he was still shocked. You know him? Yun Joga immediately caught Ah-Sang's expression. His name is 8. He's the leader of the gnolls. Ah-Sang nodded and calmed down again. It's even better that you know each other. If you can help this gnoll awaken, your tribe will be able to successfully start the awakening plan tomorrow. If not, the Foxman tribe will leave Cloud City, Zishang said calmly. I'll try my best. Ah-Sang nodded and looked straight into the eyes of the leader of the gnolls. He shouted anxiously, 8, it's not good. Lilia is injured. Come and save her. Yun Joga couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he heard this. It seemed that Ah-Sang and 8 not only knew each other, but were also very close. When 8 heard Ah-Sang's voice, a pained expression appeared on his face. The golden light on his body rose. 8, Lilia can't make it. You can only save her by awakening the golden light. Wake up, hurry. Ah-Sang's voice was getting more and more urgent. The golden light on his fingers moved slightly, and an illusion immediately enveloped 8's body. Lily. 8 squeezed out these 3 words. The golden light on his body exploded, and his arm turned into a huge claw that grabbed at Ah-Sang. Yun Joga reacted quickly and immediately pulled Ah-Sang to the side. 8's hand landed on the ground and smashed a big hole. He turned around and wanted to attack Yun Joga, but he was hit in the chest by Zishang. He spat out a mouthful of thick gray blood. Thank you, Miss Yun. Ah-Sang looked at 8 on the ground and let out a long sigh. Are you very close to him? Yun Joga asked. Our tribes are very close. When we were young, 8 often took us to play together. Ah-Sang nodded. There was a trace of nostalgia on his charming face. Who is this Lilia you mentioned? Yun Joga asked again. 8's little sister and my fiancé. Ah-Sang's expression was gloomy. Where is she now? Yun Joga did not expect Ah-Sang to have such a relationship with the gnolls. I don't know. Ah-Sang looked confused and said, a year ago, the black rain came again and the gnoll tribe was flooded in the lowlands. After the entire tribe migrated, no one knew where they went. I've been asking around for their whereabouts, but I couldn't find them. Not long ago, I heard that the Lupus people had been corrupted by demonic energy and turned into puppets. Miss Yun, since you are willing to help 8 awaken, please save the Lupus people. Ah-Sang pleaded. I awakened 8 because there is a quest that requires his ability. The gnolls did many bad things when they were controlled by the demonic energy. If he wants to save his people, he must first atone for his sins. He only needed one knoll to search for clues about Grey Castle, so Yun-Jyoga did not want to waste time awakening other knolls. 8 is a very responsible and good clan leader. What happened in the past was not his own intention. As long as he is given a chance, he will definitely try his best to make amends. Sang quickly put in a good word for his good friend. It's not up to you to decide whether he will try his best or not. While Yun-Jyoga was speaking, Zishang had already woken 8 up. Where's this? What happened? 8 shook his head vigorously, his eyes full of confusion. When he saw Sang, his face showed a surprised expression. Sang, why are you here? Didn't your tribe go to the other side of the grassland? Arte, that was a long time ago. What about Lilia? Where is she? Sang quickly asked. Lilia. 8 frowned painfully, and then his face became extremely ferocious. He gnashed his teeth and said, That damn oracle, she lied to us. I'm going to kill her. As he spoke, he was about to rush out of the door. Wait, tell me what happened. What did the oracle lie to you about? Yun-Jyoga blocked 8's way. Who are you? 8 looked at Yun-Jyoga vigilantly. His eyes instantly became frantic, and his arm once again turned into a huge claw and slashed at Yun-Jyoga. 8, calm down. She's your savior. Sang hurriedly rushed over and hugged 8's arm. No, she must have been sent by the oracle. None of these humans from the outside are good people. They destroyed our home. I'm going to kill her. 8 roared. Sang talked him first. Come and find me when you've figured it out, Yun-Jyoga said coldly. She looked like she had a lot of things to do and was not interested in watching an orc go crazy. Yes, don't worry, Miss Yun. I'll definitely talk to him. Sang pulled 8 with all her might, and even wrapped her tail tightly around him. Yun-Jyoga coldly left the treatment room with Zishang. As soon as the door closed, she immediately leaned against the wall to eavesdrop on what was going on inside. Zishang was speechless. He wanted to say something, but Yun-Jyoga stopped him with a look. He could only sit by the side and eavesdrop with her. In the treatment room, Sang's clear voice rang out. She explained the situation of the Knolls, Yun-Jyoga's background, and the current situation of Cloud City. Are you sure she's really here to help us? 8's voice also gradually calmed down. I'm not sure, but without her, we would have starved to death. No matter what she wants to do with us, as long as our people can survive, we can only do as she says. Sang's voice was full of helplessness. The situation in the arcane realm was already extremely bad. They had no other choice. You're right. As long as my people can survive, I'm willing to do anything. 8 clenched his arms tightly. He could feel a surge of power in his body. Not only did it help him escape from his previous muddle-headed state, but it also made him stronger. Based on this alone, this Miss Yin was much better than the oracle who only talked and did not do anything. 8. What happened to the Knolls after the Black Rain? What's the matter with the oracle? Sang asked. The oracle is a big liar. 8 clenched his teeth and told the whole story. The Black Rain came too suddenly. After their tribe was submerged, they could only move higher up. Lilia was seriously injured while protecting a playful cub of her tribe during the migration. The aura of death spread throughout her body, and she was on the verge of death. Just then, their tribe met a woman and 3 men who came from the outside world. The woman called herself the Oracle and said that she had a way to cure Lilia's injuries caused by the Black Rain. At that time, he was already in a panic. He could only try his best and ask the Oracle for help. Chapter 536. Then was Lilia saved? Sang asked nervously. She was saved. After the Oracle saved Lilia, she gave us food and weapons, as well as a godstone that can make the Gaga grass grow better. Our tribe was doing well at first, until Lilia discovered that the Oracle was arguing with her companions, and the argument was related to the Gaga grass. Not long after, the 2 companions of the Oracle disappeared, leaving behind a gloomy and cold man. Lilia told me that the Oracle was very strange. She told us to give up on growing the Gaga grass and plan our escape route. Not long after, she disappeared as well. I brought my tribesmen to capture the Oracle but my head suddenly exploded. Since then, I've been searching for iron mines and rabbit men. When I woke up, I was here. 8 held his head in pain and said, "It's all my fault. I was too careless to trust those outsiders." Not all outsiders are evil. Miss Yin is a rare good person. I believe that as long as we follow her, we will be able to find Lilia one day. Ah Sang patted 8's shoulder calmly. Hearing this, Yun Jogo whispered to Zishang, "This foxman is not bad. He's very clear-headed. He's all right." Zishang did not comment. All right. 8 said that the oracle was arguing with his companions. Could it be Nangong Li and Bailey Mayan? Yin Joga turned and looked at Zishang with bright eyes. She knew that Nangong Li and Bailey Mayan were not in cahoots with Nangong Yu. Let's call 8 out and ask him. Zishang had enough of eavesdropping. He opened the door and called 8 and Ah Sang out. "Miss Yin, I apologize for my rudeness earlier." 8 bowed deeply to Yun Jioga. "I forgive your rudeness." Yun Jioga nodded reservedly, then asked, "You said that you saw the oracle and his companions. What do they look like?" 1 woman and 3 men. They were all very good-looking. 8 racked his brains, but could not think of any adjectives other than good-looking. Don't say any more. Just let them see. Close your eyes and try your best to imagine what they look like. Ah Sang patted 8's shoulder. 8 obediently closed his eyes. However, he frowned deeply, looking like he had suffered a great deal of hatred. Ah Sang placed her hand on his forehead. The golden light flickered and turned into a light screen. Inside the light screen was a woman and 3 men. The woman was dressed in a sky-blue magical robe. Her skin was fair, and her features were picturesque. Her chin was exquisite and small, and her nose was straight and delicate. The corners of her rosy lips were slightly curled up, as if she was smiling. Just looking at her would make one feel happy. It was Nangong Yu. Standing beside her were Nangong Li, Bailey Mayun, and an enlarged version of Cho Sr. It really is them. Although Yun Jioga had been guessing, now that he saw the image, he had proof. Memory reading, that's a pretty good ability, Yun Jioga praised. Thanks for the compliment. Ah Sang smiled shyly. At first, he didn't want to reveal this ability, but for Lilia and 8, he had to be more useful. Can you read the content of the argument between the oracle and his companion? Yun Jioga asked again. Let me try. Ah Sang's fingers moved slightly, and the image on the light screen immediately changed. A petite, fair-skinned jackal girl appeared on the light screen. She said to 8 in a low voice, "Big brother, I heard Master Li and Master Mayan arguing with the oracle yesterday. They said that the gaga grass is for pregnant women and that we can't do it. I don't feel good about it. Let's not plant the gaga grass. Let's go find Ah Sang." That's all 8's memory of the argument. Ah Sang's voice was tired. The golden light on his hand gradually dimmed. The memory reading ability consumed a lot of energy, and he had reached his limit. Enough. Yun Jioga nodded and said to Ah Sang, "You've passed the test. Tomorrow, bring your clansmen to awaken on time, and then go on a mission with us. The military counselor will tell you the details of the mission." As for 8, Yun Jioga's gaze fell on the extremely nervous 8. He said coldly, "If he can complete the mission, I'll consider helping him awaken another clansman." "Yes, thank you, Miss Yin." Ah Sang quickly nodded. He was very clear about the current situation of the jackal people. It took more effort to awaken one than to awaken a clan. This reward was very extravagant. Let's go find a military counselor. Yun Jioga waved his hand and let Ah Sang and 8 leave. The foxmen are very useful. Am I right? Zishang raised his eyebrows. Yun Jioga had doubted him before. Yes, your decision is always right. Yun Jioga almost gave Zishang a thumbs up to show his admiration. Rest early. We'll set off immediately after the awakening of the foxmen. Zishang rubbed Yun Jioga's hair and took her to rest. The next morning, Yun Jioga personally presided over the awakening of the foxmen. The awakening process was very smooth. Unfortunately, except for Ah Sang, the other foxmen only awakened ordinary illusion abilities. In the end, Zishang organized them into a scouting team, which was responsible for patrolling and investigating the surrounding situation together with the Eagle Men. On this trip to Grey Castle, Yunjoga mainly brought the members of his guard team, the Rabbit Man Meng and Maya, the Eagle Men Hoodlum and Zay, and Asang and Eight. Let's go to the encampment of the Leopard Men and the Lizard Men first. You guys sit on Hoodlum. Zishang asked Asang and Zay to turn huge. He and Yunjoga sat on Asang, while the other orcs sat on Asang. Then, they flew to the encampment of the Lizard Men and Leopard Men. Yunjoga didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that the aura of death in the secret realm was getting thicker. The earth was like a toad struggling at death's door, and the skin on his body was already dry and cracked. Many beasts lay among the withered grass and trees. Their bodies were covered with black scars of death and emitted a foul smell. If Miss Yin hadn't built Cloud City, we orcs would have ended up like them, Asang whispered to Eight. Eight didn't reply, but he looked at Yunjoga's back with a trace of fear and gratitude. He had gone to the dungeon to see the rest of his people. Although their minds were controlled and their faces were numb, at least they were still alive and there was still hope. The encampment of the Leopard Men is over there. Hold tight, I'm going to land. Asang's voice came, and then he quickly landed. Yunjoga, Zishang, and the others jumped off the eagle's back. There were piles of rocks everywhere. From the smooth surface of the rocks, one could vaguely see that there used to be an orc tribe living here. 8. See if there are any clues. Yunjoga walked around and didn't find anything special. Yes. 8 immediately bent down and turned into a huge jackal. His reddish-brown fur shone, and his gray eyes emitted a sharp light. He sniffed around the pile of rubble and quickly identified his target. He used his claws to dig up a large rock and dug out a neatly wrapped bundle from underneath. There was an animal skin and an old stone bowl with holes in it. This is left behind by the Leopard Men and Lizard Men. They agreed to migrate together, Asang said. Yunjoga flipped through the things. Usually, orcs would bury things they didn't need before migrating. On one hand, it might be useful in the future. On the other hand, it was to hide the traces of their lives. It seemed that the Leopard Men and Lizard Men left very calmly. 8. Can you find their route of departure? Zishang asked. Chapter 537. Although the smell is a little faint, I can tell that they left in that direction. 8 raised his head and looked to the west. Lead the way. Aze and Ah Fei follow. Yunjoga and Zishang sat back on Aze. The 2 black eagles followed behind 8. Art sprinted across the land, occasionally stopping to sniff at a fork in the road, then moving on. After running for about an hour, 8 circled a wide forest of dead trees and retreated to a small river that he had just passed by. He looked up and shouted at Yunjoga and the others. This is where the Leopard Men disappeared. Here, Yunjoga looked down at the dry stream. It was too far, and he didn't see anything. Zay, go down. Then, Zishang jumped down from behind Lu Zay and landed on a dry riverbed. Yunjoga and the others landed too. Demeng accidentally stepped into the deep black mud. When he jumped out, his feet were covered in mud. Stay away from me. Maya looked at Demeng with disgust and quickly left. Yunjoga quietly left too. The mud was too smelly. Look here. Zishang pulled Yunjoga and signaled her to look at the grass by the river. There were a few scattered footprints that were so faint that they were almost invisible, heading towards the forest of dead trees in the distance. 8, what's going on? Yunjoga asked. Although the last sign of the Leopard Men was in the forest up ahead, they actually disappeared by the river, 8 said as he walked up to Yunjoga and Zishang. Why? Yunjoga asked. If it were me, I would never bring my people into the dead tree forest. The footprints are too clear. Someone must have set it up, 8 said. Okay, everyone search around here. North, south, east, west, pick a group each. Yunjoga also wanted to pick a direction, but was stopped by Zishang. This river seems to have dried up not long ago. Zishang squatted down and picked up the mud on the riverbed. It was still very wet. Could they have been attacked while drinking here? Yunjoga also squatted down and asked. Very likely. Zishang glanced at the messy footsteps by the river and said, something unexpected must have happened at that time. Where will they be taken? Yunjoga got up and looked around. The vast wilderness was empty except for the dead trees. I don't know about that. Without using demonic power and divine abilities, even he would have a hard time finding the missing leopard men and lizard men. About half an instance's time later, Ah-Zhe and Ah-Fei flapped their wings and came back to report. Miss Yun, the east side is the wilderness. The end of the wilderness might be a cliff, or it might be the death swamp. If we want to investigate clearly, we will need to fly for at least 2 days. Then, Demeng and Maya returned. The west side is also in the wilderness. We didn't find any movement from the leopard men or the lizard men. Then 8 and Ah Sang also came back. Seeing Yun Joga's questioning gaze, Ah Sang shook his head helplessly and said, we didn't find anything here either. That leaves the dead tree forest. Yun Joga looked at the forest shrouded in black mist. Miss Yun, I'm very sure that they disappeared near this river. 8 still insisted on his opinion. You 3 teams will change directions and search again. Yi Zi and I will go check the forest. Since someone pushed the clues to the dead tree forest, there should be some traces left behind. Yun Joga said, Miss Yun, the dead tree forest is too dangerous. Maya and I should go check. Demeng quickly stopped her. No need. Compared to these beast men, Yun Joga trusted her own eyes more. Miss Yun, we're your guards. If there's danger, we should be the first to go, Demeng said anxiously. The other beastmen nodded. Yun Joga had become the savior of the entire beastmen race. If anything happened to her, the entire guard team would be too ashamed to go back and see their people. You stay here and help 8 find clues. This is an order. Yun Joga's face turned serious. Guards being too loyal was also a problem. Demeng's ears were about to stand up. He was about to say something, but Maya stopped him and shook her head. Before entering the guard team, the advisor gave all the beastmen a lesson. He only emphasized one thing. They must listen to Miss Yun and Master Yizi. If they couldn't do it, they should leave. Miss Yun, Master Yizi, at least let me carry you over. Ah-Zhe said, no need, we'll be back soon. Yun Joga felt helpless seeing how the sky was about to fall on Zhe and the rest of the orcs. It seemed that she had been too focused on her research that she became a weak chicken in front of the beastmen. It seemed that she had to show them her power when she had the chance. Let's go. Zishang pulled Yun Joga and disappeared from their sight. Moments later, they arrived at the dead tree forest. Clues. Zishang pointed at a dead tree ahead. These traces do seem intentional. Yun Joga looked at the paw print on the tree. It was left by the leopard. Let's go in and see. Zishang followed the trace into the forest. There were gray-white trees everywhere. The black leaves floated with a faint black gas. It had a nauseating smell. The paw print left by the leopard race was very clear. There were clues every few trees. It spread towards the center of the forest. It's probably a trap ahead. Do we still go? Yun Joga looked at the arrow. The black gas that was like a whirlpool. Of course we have to. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated in 100 battles. We need to find out what kind of cards Cho Sun and Nangon you have. After saying that, black scales immediately covered his entire body. He then led the way. Yun Joga only took 2 steps behind him when she felt something heavy under her feet. A gray vine grabbed her ankle and pulled her into the forest. Zishang turned and stomped on the vine, protecting Yun Joga behind him. The dead trees in the forest started to boil. The dead trees swarmed toward them like sharks that had smelled blood. Countless tree vines attacked them. Open your spirit eye and find the tree core. Zishang carried Yun Joga and moved left and right. He punched the trees in front of him. However, there were more and more trees. Even if they were broken, they would regrow. There was no time to stop. Yun Joga opened his spiritual eye to search around and finally found a ball that was flickering with gray light that was constantly moving around. It was undoubtedly the dead tree's heart. There, Yunjoga flicked her moon spirit thread to the gray orb. Zishang turned into a snake tail and whipped in that direction. All the dead trees in front of him turned to dust. Yunjoga used her moon spirit thread to wrap around the gray orb. Just when she was about to crush it, she heard a terrified cry. "Don't kill me." Chapter 538. What the hell is this? Yunjoga looked at the gray eyeball that was tightly wrapped by moon spirit threads. Its blood-red pupil and bloodshot eye whites made him uncomfortable. "This is a demon." Zishang took the eyeball and asked, "Where did you come from?" "Please, I've been here since I was born." "Okay, but where did you invaders come from? Why are you destroying my home?" The eyeball complained, as if it was an innocent victim. "These dead trees only appeared after the black rain. How did you stay here all this time?" Zishang sneered. "I was born in this dead forest after the black rain." "Of course I've been here all this time," the eyeball said disdainfully. "You can be even more arrogant." Zishang pinched the eyeball with his fingers, causing the blood vessels on the eyeball to burst out. "Ouch! Gentler, gentler. You're hurting me," the eyeball shrieked. "Trust me, I can make it hurt even more." Zishang's lips curled up, his gaze cruel. "Don't be like this. Keeping me around is good for you," the eyeball shouted in panic. "What good can you do?" Yunjoga raised an eyebrow. "I know everything," the eyeball said proudly. "Then can you tell me where the black rain in this hidden realm came from?" "No." The eyeball froze. "Then can you tell me how to dispel the demonic chi and restore the hidden realm's vitality?" Yunjoga asked again. "No, I can't." The eyeball suddenly felt so useless. "Then what's the point of keeping you around?" Yunjoga stared at the eyeball's red pupil emotionlessly. "Wait, did you come here to find those stupid leopards and lizards? I know where they are. I can take you there," the eyeball hurriedly shouted. Zishang and Yunjoga looked at each other. "Then tell me, where are they?" Yunjoga asked. "Those stupid leopards and lizards are locked in the river up ahead. I'll take you there now, but you have to let go of me first." The eyeball blinked its gray-white eyelids. "I'll use moon spirit threads to tie it up." Yunjoga weaved the moon spirit threads into a gray-white net and wrapped it around the eyeball. "What is this? It's so disgusting." The eyeball shook left and right, trying to break free from the net. "No matter how disgusting it is, it's still better than you. I'm warning you. Behave yourself, or else I'll suck you dry." Although Yunjoga hadn't used the devouring ability of the moon spirit threads, she didn't mind trying it out on this eyeball. "I've always been honest. Why do you keep threatening an innocent monster like me?" The eyeball's eyes were wet, as if it was about to cry. "Shut up. You're disgusting." Yunjoga was getting goosebumps. "All right." The eyeball immediately returned to its original state after failing to act pitifully and obediently flew forward. Yunjoga and Zishang followed the eyeball out of the forest. They saw Aze, Demeng, and the other orcs waiting anxiously outside. "What are you guys doing here?" "Have you finished searching the river?" Yunjoga asked. "I've already searched, but I didn't find anything. Maybe I guessed wrong." Eight lowered his head in frustration. He was scolded by Ah Sang for being too impulsive. He actually caused Lady Yun and Master Yizi to personally enter the forest to check. "No, you're not wrong. The wercats and lizardmen have indeed disappeared from the river. This thing will help us find them." Yunjoga pulled the string in her hand, and the eyeball that was flying high in the sky was pulled down by her. "What is this disgusting thing?" Aze was shocked. "Is this an eyeball? Oh my God, it's alive. It can move and fly." The shocked orcs all came over. Maya even wanted to touch the eyeball. "Go away, you stupid orcs. I'm a great and noble monster. I'm not someone you lowly beings can dream of." The eyeball flew up proudly and looked down at the orcs. It also glanced at Yunjoga and Zishang. "Great my ass. Take us to the leopard people." Yunjoga shook the moon spirit threads, and the eyeball spun. "Stop bullshitting. I'll take you there now." The eyeball flew into the river and circled around the mud Demeng fell into before saying, "It's here. We've checked this place many times. There's nothing but mud." Eight's feet were covered in mud from when he went into the river. Stupid orcs, back off. The eyeball sneered and shot a dark red beam at the bottom of the river. The bottom of the river, which was full of silt, rumbled, and then a big black hole appeared. Gusts of chilly wind drifted out from it. The people you're looking for are inside. Go in, the eyeball said. There's indeed the smell of leopard people and lizardmen inside. Eight nodded with a serious expression. Take us in. Yunjoga pulled the eyeball. Okay, follow me. The eyeball moved and floated inside. Eight sang, and Zay walked in front, Yunjoga and Zishang in the middle, and Maya, Demeng, and Fei brought up the rear. Yunjoga followed the eyeball and found that there were all kinds of complicated tunnels under the river. The gray stone walls looked very sturdy, and it was obvious that someone had carefully built them. Looks like this is the secret tunnel of Grey Castle. Zishang touched the wall and asked Yunjoga, "Open your spirit eye and see what's over there." Yunjoga opened her spirit eye and saw countless figures glowing with gray light in the tunnel not far away. They were walking toward Cloud City. They're attacking Cloud City. Yunjoga knew that Grey Castle would attack, but she didn't expect it to be today. You guys leave immediately and return to Cloud City, Zishang said coldly. I'll stay and destroy these tunnels. Okay. Yunjoga was about to turn around, but she was tied up by a gray vine. Countless vines shot out from the tunnel and drowned her like a gray ocean. Yunjoga's vision was filled with gray vines. She pulled back her moon spirit thread and found that there was only an empty shell of an eyeball. Ha ha! You idiots fell in my trap. I have countless doppelgangers. There's no way you can trap me. Obediently accept your death and watch Cloud City be destroyed. The eyeball laughed arrogantly, and the surging gray vines tied Yunjoga tightly. She was about to use her divine power to break free when the cute baby's voice suddenly appeared. Master, what's wrong? Yunjoga sank into the demonic cauldron and saw the cute baby's little chubby face pulling the confused demonic embryo grass. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.